Welcome back to another episode of Pentiment. Last time, Andreas met his end in a deeply tragic and also somewhat funny way, because he decided that he had to go run in after the books when Peter tried to burn the abbey down, and not only did he gather a few of them, he then left them on the ground and went back in for more of them and died that way. A very appropriate ending for our bookworm Andreas. And also sad. He seemed to have lost his passion for making art. He didn't want to finish the commissions that he had. And at least the silver lining of this ending for him is that he was able to have his widow keep all of the money and everything that he'd gotten from his patrons without having to finish the commission. I'm sure part of his actions were driven by like the deep depression that he'd fallen into. But here we are, perhaps 20 years later. I'm not sure exactly. I know that we had the 1543. I believe the first act was in 1518, and 7 years after that was 1527. Is that right? 26? I don't know. It's long enough that Ertz has grown up into, like, an adult-looking man, and we are now playing as Magdalene, don't call her Mags, Druckerin, Klaus Drucker's young daughter, who Andreas gave the bestiary to with the pictures before he tragically passed away. We've been gathering these galls, I think they're called. It's like a fungus that grows on this tree that she can use to make ink, but it's not for her dad's woodcuts, it's for her own art. So she has grown into something of an artist herself, I suppose. We are supposed to be meeting our dad, Klaus, at the Rathaus. Or actually at his workshop. We need to get plans and then from the workshop and then meet him at the Rathaus. Here we are, Magdalene Druckerin. We've got a sword in the book on here, which is very interesting. Maybe this isn't a sword, maybe it's just a very long quill, because I don't see like a hilt or anything. But it's certainly interesting. This crest is also interesting. It looks like a depiction of St. Moritz, but he's also got a hat, kind of like Andreas's hat, which is interesting. We are an empiricist. Magdalene has a basic empirical mind. She is well read on the nature of plants and animals, as well as possessing a keen ability to think through and process information she receives along with its implications. And I suspect that this aspect of our character was influenced by which book Andreas decided to give her. So it's interesting to think about what could have been different if we'd given her a different one. Hans Bauer has taken over Johann's farm. The Gertner farm is still there. It looks like Voislav now is farming this location. I wonder if he's still, like, a brother in the monastery, or if he's been expelled, maybe because of his relationship with, God, what was her name? It's not Margaret, it's not Magdalene, because we're Magdalene. But the other nun, the cellarer. And then the inn is still here. In town, we have the Kreutzer house, which is new. But we've heard of the Kreutzers before, so I guess we're just now getting access to their house. And Werner and Balthazar are still here. Looks like the abbey has completely burned down, but the sisters still have a convent here. So maybe that's it. He wasn't expelled, but Voislav just settled there and didn't move to another abbey, I guess. Our list of people, so far we've only met Sister Gertrude. Mousefänger is still alive. That's crazy. And then we have Otto Ertz Zimmermann, born just before the revolt. Alright. Let's get to it. Saint Satia's shrine. Martha especially likes to leave offerings for her. But we don't get an entry from Martha just yet. Agnes gathers chamomile here every year to prepare for her cures for the coming year. The waterfall is always so beautiful. The old salt mines. No one's mined in passing for ages. I can't believe how quickly the leaves changed this year. It's nice to see some green this time of year. Horehound is one of the few plants that grows year-round here. Václav has come back, that's interesting. Hello, Magdalene. Hello, Magdalene. This is the same plant we just looked at. Shall we make our way into the meadow and head up to where the abbey used to be? Snow is creeping down the mountains. Winter will be here soon. I can smell the anise on the breeze. Reminds me of when I was little. The stables are clearly haven't been used in a while, nor has the guest house, which is interesting. You'd think that if nothing else, somebody could like live there. This is all overgrown. I wonder what the government situation is like here. It's all burned out. They put the hand back. The hand of St. Moritz. The poor Clares take care of it now that the Benedictines are gone. Interesting. So the Benedictines have left. And the convent is now under the control of a different religious order. But Sister Gertrude is still here, so that's interesting. bless you, Magdalene. Son of Mousefinger. So maybe Mousefinger isn't alive. But her son is. Has also got a child. Sister Margaret still here? Hello, Margaret. It's Magdalene. Oh, Magdalene. God bless you. You don't normally come to the convent alone. What brings you here? Not that you're not welcome, of course. It's always wonderful to have visitors. I had some spare time and thought I would say hello. Oh, well, hello. Haha. It's good to see your... It is good to hear your voice, though. I enjoy it when outsiders visit the convent. Do you miss the outside world much, sister? Yes, sometimes. I miss the other Benedictine sisters, especially. She'd never admit it, but Sister Lisbeth had the most wonderful voice. I always stood next to her if I could. Why stay then? Why didn't you leave when the Benedictines left Kirsau? Truth be told, I was too frightened to leave. Kirsau is my home. I didn't like the idea of becoming accustomed to a new place. Learning the convent's ins and outs was hard enough. I never went outside the convent much anyway. I know where everything is here, even if it's changed over the years. Sister Gertrude had already planned to stay too. The garden always needs tending, and 2 hands make light work. Besides, I can't leave Mousefinger behind. So she is still alive. So there's only Magdalene, Sister Gertrude, and that other Francesca. Interesting. Ah, of course. She truly is Queen of Kirsau. Has the convent changed very much since the poor Clares arrived? Yes, the food is simpler, and some of the prayers are different, but all the chores and gardening is the same. Gertrude misses making ink for the scriptorium, but I've enjoyed learning the sisters' new customs. Speaking of which, I should probably return to my chores. Of course, sister. Apologies for interrupting. Not at all, Magdalene. God bless you. So they've joined this other order, I suppose, after they came. The poor Clares. This old statue of St. Moritz has seen better days. Love watching the violets bloom every year. They match the purple of the mountains. Hi. So Killian is here keeping the inn. They stayed after Hannah died. And Nico is still here as well. Magdalene. Zeus. Magdalene has a good dog petting animation. Oh, little Andreas. Hello. Okay, so Mueller, I guess Paul, came back after Leonard was killed. Maybe this is Paul's kid that he named Andreas. You can call me Magdalene, Andreas. Magdalene. Magda works too. So we can call her Magda, not Mags. Magda. There you go. What are you up to today? Drawing? Anything interesting? No? Secrets. Oh, I see. Leave you to it then. Yeah, so here's Elsa, and then this must be Paul's wife, who's Anna. And there's Andreas's old hat that she stole from him so long ago. So Paul and Anna got married, and they have little Andreas and little Ulrike, which is like the feminine version of Ulrich, Anna's dad, who was shot by Leonard. Magdalene. Helen, no. Hey. No. Hello, Ulrika. Hello. What are you doing? Watching. Very well. Keep up the good work. Work. Just like Mom. I will work now. God bless you, Magdalene. Helen. Being very noisy. Very noisy dog. Paul is not in at the moment. We can't go down to the Roman ruins anymore. That area has been blocked off from us. And here's Martha. Oh, Ursula came out here with Fabian. She's very pretty looking now. And she has a little baby. This is our house. I can sleep in the big bed. Here's the workshop and the printing press. And here's the plans that we were supposed to get. The Rathaus mural sketches. I think this is what my dad wants. I think these are all of the plans. What is this part of the plans? Uh-oh. Stop. Hör auf. Huh. What an odd color. We don't have an ink like this here. At least, I don't think we do. Well, whatever. I'll bring it just in case. Alright, I'd better get these over to the Rathaus. So is that old or new? Because it kind of looked faded. So this is our dad's room, and then we sleep on the ground floor. It's a nice little house that we got. Martin Bowers still living here with his wife. Helen, you keep down from there. No. No. Good girl. Good girl. And that's indeed him. Former brother Voislav. God bless you, Magdalene. Oh, and he and Matilda got married. I see. God bless you, Magdalene. So they took advantage of the Benedictines leaving to leave the religious life, I suppose, and get married. Good for them. Hey, Magdalene. Hello, Magdalene. This must be Hans' son, Simon. Hello, Magdalene. Hello, Hans. Did you need something? Croft hasn't bothered you again, has he? Or gotten into some other trouble? Not met him yet. No, he's been fine. Mostly. Good. That boy's a thorn in my boot. He's lazy, arrogant, doesn't care for his family. He'll bring shame to the Bauer name one day. I avoid sticking my nose into people's affairs, but Martin... Anyway, didn't mean to complain. Till later, Magdalene. Until then. No way. Ill Peter is still alive. This guy must be 110 years old by now. Magdalene. Incredible. Hello, Magdalene. Hello, Magdalene. Morning, Magdalene. Well, he did find his wife. Good morning, Mistress Druckern. Artemis. Hello, Magdalene. Okay, so the Kreutzers have taken over the Zimmerman house. Eva's still here. Hello, Magda. Hi, Magda. Hello, Christina. What are you doing today? Helping Mom. Ertz is right. You're really pretty. Oh. Thank you, Christina. You're really pretty, too. Thank you. Don't tell. It's a secret. Oh. I'll keep it secret. Haha. You're funny, Magda. Hello, Magdalene. So, I wonder if he's, older Till's son, who's probably no longer alive. I think he might have even gotten killed in the riot at the end of the last act. Oh yeah, Brother Guy doesn't have to pay Andreas anymore. But then, like, since the entire abbey was burned down, I imagine that he stopped being able to embezzle money from it anyways. I wonder where he's at now. If he took advantage of the whole thing collapsing to leave and go somewhere else, or if he moved to a different abbey. Hey again, Mags. Are you serious? I just told you not to call me that. And what are you all doing out here? Don't you have better things to do? What business is that of yours? Not me. All my work's done, Mags. What do you care? It's not like you've got important work to do. Okay, so we can pick another background for Magdalene. We can tinker with Baltus. We can do household and animal work. Or we can balance the books. I don't think I want to go with this one, because we've already kind of got like I very narrowly spec'd Andreas, so I want to have Magdalene be like somewhat more widely proficient in different things. Our current option that we have is like we know, like we have a broad like encyclopedic knowledge base, and we also know a lot about plants and animals specifically. So I'm not sure that we want to go into anything else that mentions animals. And I think that bookkeeping might be a good pickup for her. So we'll go with that. I keep my dad's business running and profitable. I handle all of our orders and make sure everything's delivered on time. That seems a little more important than standing around the commons in the middle of the day. Must be nice to have money. You don't have to brag about it. Doesn't really sound like women's work anyway, if you ask me. Right, no one did. Calm down, Mags. You're going to get a reputation. Too late to worry about that. She already has a reputation. Okay, so now we get to pick what our reputation is. This is very tempting for me, because I like that, but on the other hand, do we want to be a dick all the time? Maybe we should have been more of a dick. We failed that ending persuasion check with Casper because we were too nice to him, which it seems like he left anyway. So maybe it was just like because we failed, he actually cared about us. Or maybe he didn't leave and we're going to find out that something more happened to him later on. I wonder if that means like he'll come back to Tassing, whereas if we told him to fuck off and we were a dick to him the whole time, he'd just never appear again. I'm looking forward to seeing how that turns out. The flirt option could definitely be useful as like a social benefit, since we have a lot of like book smarts at the moment. Haggling, I don't want to pick that up because it's going to slightly overlap with our bookkeeping skills, since those are probably both ways that you can have like financial or trade knowledge. Snoop is definitely, all three of these are appealing to me for different ways. But I think I'm gonna go with a Barbs, so we can be a dick to people. At least I have a reputation. If you died today, your epitaphs would read, 3 shitheads who spent every morning harassing girls in the comments. Assuming you got a grave, that is. More likely they toss your worthless bodies on a compost heap and hope for a better return. So, okay, we're not just, doing banter or like witty barbs. We're just straight up a dick now. So, good. Good pickup. Everybody's gonna hate us now, and we're gonna fail all of our persuasion checks. Jesus Christ. Alright, we got it. Lay off. Did you get those things your dad wanted? Yes. That's why I was on my way to the rot house. Hopefully I can drop these off and start my reading for the day. Reading? What book is so important that you need to get back to it? Okay, so we can read a lot of foreign languages, which, frankly, is going to be more useful than speaking them anyway, since we're reading a lot, both as Andreas and probably Magdalene. But interesting that we'll also be able to speak Italian. We have trivia, almanacs, common knowledge, etc. I think this slightly overlaps with our empiricist background. And then this is more bordering on the sort of theology thing that Andreas was really good at. I think we'll go with polyglot, since I accidentally just made Andreas really good at French. Magdalene will know all of the languages. Don Floricel de Nikea. Sorry for that. People keep having the audacity to walk their dogs past my house. And Helen likes to stare out the window all day, so she's been finding that very upsetting. Dawn what? Floricel, like flower. It's a knightly romance written in Castilian. Such a beautiful language. Who speaks that? People from Castile. Castile. Never heard of it. It's in Spain, Apollo. It's not that far. Right? Sounds made up. Don't you read all sorts of books about trees and birds and whatever? Yes, trees and birds and whatever. That's right. People are finally writing down what they see in nature instead of copying something a Greek imagined centuries ago. Do you have any books on frogs? What? Never mind. Wait, Ertz, aren't you supposed to be at the rot house too? You're on the council. Sure, but it's pointless without your dad's plans. Let's go. Ugh, fine. I don't understand how we're still arguing about this. So here's Paul. Here's Ertz. Father Thomas is still here. Big Jorg has lost an eye, probably on a farming accident. And then Werner has grown his hair out a little bit in his middle age. These murals should depict the truth. What we know is the truth. I don't think it's so simple, Klaus. Are you afraid of angering our Lord, Father Thomas? So it's interesting that immediately we're seeing Klaus and Father Thomas at odds with each other. And we found the note in our dad's plans in the illuminated purple script that says stop. So Father Thomas is not beating the thread puller accusations that I've been thinking for a long time, but Andreas never figured out. I think Father Thomas means that the truth is not so easily agreed upon. I don't know. I'm tired of arguing. I just wanted to look nice and show what happened. Magdalene, thank you for bringing these. Maybe illustrations will succeed where talking has failed. I'm done arguing with them. I'll see you at home for supper. It's alright, Magdalene. We don't need to see the drawings. It's not that we don't understand what he's trying to do. I didn't realize we'd upset him so much. Sounds like things got worse after I left. Well, we've been arguing about this for almost 2 hours. For all the good it did us, he hasn't budged. What's the point of talking if you can't make any progress? Magdalene, could you speak to your father? Help him see things from our point of view. Father Thomas, I don't even know what you're all arguing about. What is your point of view? Klaus has strong, very strong, opinions on how the history of Tassing of Kearsau Abbey should be portrayed. And these portrayals may upset some of our neighbors. Isn't the real concern that it's going to upset the Lord? So we have a Lord now. Isn't everyone really worried about him coming here someday and seeing the revolt memorialized on the wall? You keep saying that we all disagree with him. I don't think I do. Not entirely. Well, what do you think, York? I know I'm not the smartest man in this room, but I know what happened to my own dad. I know what he did. It doesn't feel right to ignore what happened to him, what happened to Otto. Look, you all knew my dad. I never had the chance. I don't want to make the people in this town angry. I don't want to make our Lord angry. None of us do. But maybe there's a way to tell this story in a way that's true without upsetting anyone. Probably not, Ertz. I don't think that you can ever do that. So, it's all very complicated, you see, Magdalene. Try to get him to consider a portrayal of our history that's a little less inflammatory. So we're going to use our dickhead specialization. And to think the council's meant to be the best of Tassing. Magdalene. Such speech is entirely uncalled for. We need to come to an agreement, or call off the mural entirely. He's been wanting to paint this mural for years. You can't tell him no all of a sudden. Then help us, Magdalene. Your father will listen to you. Alright. I won't promise anything, though. He's already hard enough to convince. Now I'm going back home. This mess has taken up too much of my day already. Oh, so the timekeeping system has changed. We've got like a regular clock now. We're in October. Magdalene, thank you for bringing the drawings to the Rot House. I'm sorry it was a waste of time. Those men don't know what they want. When I try to tell them what I'm trying to do, they get scared. Then they talk and talk and talk. They talk all day and we're never any close to a decision. I'm sick of it. Sick of the whole thing. Dad, I'm worried about you. I know. I appreciate the concern. Helen is crying outside of the door to the room because it's slightly closed, and she seems to have fallen under the belief that she's incapable of opening it. So I'm going to open it so she can come in, even though she could have easily done it herself. Try to stop staring at the window and yelling when people come by. I suppose I haven't been this upset about something in a while. I'll get through it. I just need time. Why is it bothering you so much? We hear all of these stories about what this place was, how it came to be. And it feels like history is something that happened before, happened to other people. But 18 years ago, we lived through something, you and I, everyone in Tassing. Everyone wants to forget about it, pretend it didn't happen. You don't. No, I don't. All those years ago, I did nothing. I was worried for you. Worried for Benjamin and Rachel and Esther. Who's Esther? Oh, their kid. I was so afraid that I'd lose you. I wouldn't have been able to bear it. In the end, so many people died anyway. Peter and Ulrich and Andreas and all of the others. And we lived. Dad, everyone says that it wouldn't have made any difference. If you and the others had fought, you would have died. I would have died. Maybe I could have stopped him from going to the mill. Or maybe we could have stopped the peasants from burning it down. But we'll never know. Is that what this is about, this mural? It's a chance to put something down in a place where everyone can see. If people start to forget, this will remind them. We were here. This happened. If I don't do it, who will? You're right, Dad. I wish the men in that rot house saw me the way that you do. One way or another, you'll figure it out. I hope so. All the arguing has left me beat. I'm going to bed early. Alright, I'm going to stay up for a bit and write a letter to Esther. Good. Please say hello to her from me. And her parents, I know, Dad. Good night, Magdalene. I love you. Love you too. All this running around has left me tired too. It'll be nice to sit down at my desk and just write for a while. We can leave, though. And we are going to. We haven't finished seeing everyone. I've already been in here. So we have to go to the bakery in the north town. Dad always bought anise cakes from Gret to help soothe my stomach when I was ill. And here's Gret. She looks just like Anna. Bless you, Magdalene. So it's just these, like, 3 dickhead boys that call me Mags. Probably because they know that I don't like it. Good evening, Magdalene. So this is the rot house. And I see the clock has changed because now we have this kind of clock on the rot house. The rot house is the biggest building in Tassing. Baltus's clock took ages to build in place. Well, how come he didn't build the one that has, like, people come out of it, like they have in Rothenburg up their tower? If he was a good inventor, he'd have done that. Why is there all this, like... Oh, the painting. It's, like, to shield the floor from being painted on and stuff. For the mural. Okay. Here's Werner. Maybe he'll like me because I'm also a dick. So... I'm probably, like, 20 years old. Since it's 18 years after Andreas died. Who's this guy? Ciao, Magdalene. An Italian. Magdalene! Magdalene! Yes? The cinnamon I added to the beer is perfect! You are making beer? Well, yes. It's for the Christmas celebration. Oh, I suppose you don't have much time left. Quite right. Wait, isn't it October? Did I read the clock wrong? The wheel of time stops for no man. But it's going to be wonderful. Cinnamon, coffee from Ethiopia, cacao from the New World. Gesù Cristo, acciaha, danaru, face tutto. I think this is non-standard Italian, but my Italian is non-existent. Jesus Christ, he who has the money can do everything. Problem? Of course not. It's your money. Anyway, I'm quite excited about it. Clearly. As such, alchemy is not normally my strong suit. And for all of Nyasu's complaints about the cost, the based rye we're using is free. Given the other ingredients, I'd imagine it doesn't make much of a difference to the cost. Yes, at least someone around here is aware of the costs. Do I or do I not have more than enough money to cover everything 10 times over? Of course, but then I don't want to hear another word about it. The farmers had so much rye this year, they just couldn't use it all. Gret made as much bread with it as she could, but she wound up having to throw a lot out. So why not make beer? I wish you the best luck with it. Thank you. Is this like his apprentice? Guy seems kind of old to be an apprentice, but don't know. What a mess. I don't know how Baltus can get anything done with all this in the way. So it's 6 p.m. And I guess we'll write our letter. Alright, where to begin? I should write to Esther. So they still have, actually, in our, like, bedroom, a picture of our dad and our mom and Bert, our dead brother. But we don't have a picture of us anywhere. Dearest Esther, I hope you and your family are well. Dad sends his regards to your parents like usual. I've spent the last few days collecting oak galls with Sister Gertrude. I don't suppose you have the chance to do that in Prague. Sister Gertrude has been teaching me how to grind them into a smooth ink. It's difficult work, but you'll find no better ink anywhere in Bavaria. I'll send along a bottle with this letter. Oh, did I mention, Dad started a new project. He's painting a mural of Tassing's history in our new Rathaus to memorialize the revolt. So what do they mean that it's new? Like, surely they finished the one 18 years ago. Did they then, like, knock it down and make a new one? The whole thing has me thinking about my own family history. Past, present, and future. So we are 20 years old. The printing shop has been in the family for years. I'm looking forward to taking it over. Of course, Dad will keep running it until he can't pull the levers anymore, but I'll take over sooner or later. Of course, the print shop will be more profitable than anything else my husband does. Especially if I have to marry Ertz. Christ, you would not believe how annoying he is. I think his mom is under the impression he's been courting me. Can you imagine? And yes, before you break off the nib off your pen, I will come visit you in Prague, I promise. I'll try to make time to visit before winter. Life has been bustling here, Dad's been busy with the Rathaus mural, so I've taken over in the workshop. I'm sure it will be a sight to behold once it's finished. Write back to me soon. All my love, Magda. So it's now 8 p.m. and it is October 21st. So they have 2 months until Christmas, which isn't like no time. Dad, I thought you went to bed 2 hours ago. Does going to bed mean just like standing in the hall? We're gonna quickly wander the town instead of going to bed straight away. So this one is locked. But Ertz is still out, even though it's late. It's interesting that we can no longer go to the Roman ruins. Even though we can see the path from here. We've abandoned our basket on the ground. Okay. I guess we will just go to bed then. Oh, have we been in the church yet? Not sure. I wonder if the anchoress is still here. Mary, Mother of Jesus. Her painting has been here as long as I can remember. It's late. I should get some rest. We're finger combing out our hair, but we aren't braiding it or putting it up in our hat or anything. Which is interesting. Oh, something's happening. Ah! Dad? Dad? Magdalene? Dad? Hang on, I'm coming. Oh, Jesus Christ. Dad! Magdalene. What happened? Are you alright? You're bleeding. Someone came into the house. They hit me over the head. I'll go get Dr. Stoltz. Try not to move, Dad. Magdalene, it's not safe. Whoever attacked me. This wound is too deep for me to take care of on my own. We need Dr. Stoltz. Magdalene, be careful. I will. I'll be right back, I promise. Seven hours later. So he's still alive. That's good. I was worried about the state of that head wound. Do you know why anyone would want to attack you, Klaus? No. Maybe someone didn't like one of the books I sold them. Are you sure you didn't see a shadow and hit your head on the printing press? Come on, Jorg. You saw the workshop. Somebody was looking for something. A burglar? In Tassing? That's preposterous. Yeah, 'cause it was you, Father Thomas. Well, if it wasn't an attack, what was it? Enough. It was a deliberate blow to the head, unless any of you wish to debate my diagnosis. No, of course not. No, as I thought. Truthfully, Klaus, I'm surprised the blow didn't kill you. You have a strong skull. It's a grave injury. Magdalene, you'll need to help take care of your father. I will, whatever I need to do. Good. Of course, the mural will have to be called off now. Klaus, you absolutely cannot get out of bed. No, no, it has to be done. This is too important. Just give me some time to rest. I'll find a way to make it work. Why would it have to be called off? Like, he just needs to recover from his head wound. Is it that time sensitive that they need to do it in, like, the next week? I don't think we need to cancel the entire project. Can't we just wait? Yeah, that's what I was saying. Klaus, your health comes first. Anyway, we haven't even been able to agree on what the mural should be. Indeed, it might be best to abandon the entire idea. With respect, Father Thomas, you are not on this council. Yes, yes, just offering an opinion. I can paint the mural. What? Mags, quit joking around. Well, I know you want to help your dad, but aren't you too young for something this big? Can't Paul help us? Well, I'm not going to be a complete dickhead. I'm old enough to run the print shop by myself, and Dad trusts me to illustrate the books. Isn't that enough? Painting a mural this large and complicated will take a lot of skill and expertise. So? So that's why we were having your dad make it. He's been making art forever. I agree with Paul. Klaus needs home care. You're best suited for that, Magdalene, not a mural. What is that supposed to mean? Well, are you sure you're up for it? Physically, I mean. It's quite demanding. You'd be up on scaffolding and could fall. Are you not listening to me? I've already been doing this work for years. I know what it takes. Dad knows what it takes. Do you? I can do it, Dad. If you don't trust Magdalene to do the mural, to hell with the lot of you. Klaus. If you don't trust her, you don't trust me. I'll never do any work for this council again. Alright, I say we let her. Doesn't look like we have much of a choice. Or we could just wait a couple weeks. Very well. Alright, Magdalene, you can do it. But you still need to talk to us about what you're doing, alright? Fine, but I'm taking Dad's ideas into account. Well, we'll figure it out. Thanks, Magdalene. Rest up, Klaus. I'll do my best, Jorg. Magdalene, just a moment. Yes, what is it? Your father is lucid right now, but his injury is severe. His current demeanor is misleading. What are you saying? Magdalene, there is damage to his brain. He may have a few weeks, maybe even a few months left, but he's not going to survive. Can't we take him to see a surgeon? No, he can't be moved in this condition. In fact, he shouldn't move at all. Even if he could, I don't think the finest Italian surgeons would know how to deal with trauma like this. So, he's just going to die. And there's nothing I can do about it. You can make him comfortable, and you can enjoy the time you have left. But time will run out before long. Damn, that sucks. Dad needs to be able to see the mural in its finished form. But I don't know how much time he has left. Werner said it could be a few months or... God protect him. I'll pick up where Dad left off. He wanted to paint the history of Tassing, from its earliest days to the revolt. I'll start with the earliest part of Tassing's history, the pagan tribes and the Romans. Then I'll move on to the founding of the Abbey and Tassing saints. After that, I should find a way to represent our recent history. Depicting the revolt is important to Dad. People in Tassing might know some of the town's history, but not all of it. Dad said the library in Kearsau had those records. He was going to write to the last prioress to see if she had any information. I should write to her now while I'm thinking about it. So we've moved our dad to the bedroom upstairs. Or were we all just upstairs a minute ago? We should write to Mother Illuminata. Grandson of Till Kreutzer. Okay. So he married Ava after Otto died, and they had a kid together. He will definitely be a good person to talk to about the history of Tassing, since I always like talking to old Till, and he was very, like, educated on that and interested in that kind of a thing. And then Apollo is the son of Veronica and Big Jorg, twin brother of Artemis. That's cute. Corsican agent of the Genoese Bank of St. George. So he's Baltus's accountant. Which is why he was very worried about the finances. Il Peter is still working the field as well, even though he's gotta be 110 years old. Alright, where to begin? Dad told me the last prioress of Kearsau knew something about the old history of Tassing. He said she became the abbess of a convent in Bologna, Mother Illuminata. Yes, it's Saint Margherita. I should write to her. Mother Illuminata, abbess of Santa Margherita, formerly prioress of Kearsau Abbey. My name is Magdalene Druckeren. I do not believe we ever met, as I was very young when we left Kearsau. You are acquainted with my father. He bought many books from the library before that terrible fire consumed the place. I am writing because my father and I are creating a mural in the Tassing Madhouse. It's going to tell the history of our community and of Kearsau as well. We have only legends and folklore, since of course all of Kearsau's books were destroyed in the fire. I was hoping you could tell us something about the early history of the town when the Romans were here. If you know anything about the early history of the Abbey itself, we would also be glad to hear it. We would appreciate any help you could give us, and we hope you are well. My father always spoke highly of your piety and intellect. God bless you, Magdalene. Oh, we accidentally made time pass. Well. Oops. And we can't leave. So I guess all we can do is talk to our dad and then go to sleep right now. If there was anything else to do, we failed to do so. Magdalene. Hey Dad, how are you feeling? Can I get you anything? No, I'm fine. You go on. Alright, I'll come back and check on you later. Whoa. Okay. It's now November 6th. Okay. Reichspostman. Ah, Mistress Druckerin, I have a few letters here addressed to you. Take care now. Thank you, sir. Mother Illuminata wrote back to me. I hope her response helps me paint the mural. Mistress Druckerin, thank you for your letter. I hope this reply finds you and your father in good health. I remember you both, as your father would carry you between the rows of our library in its final years. I also remember your late mother and brother, God keep their souls. While we did have some books that discussed Tassin's past, it's likely they were as mythological as what your neighbors believe. That said, I remember one of the peasants, Tillman Kreutzer, read about the history of the town. I know he died during the revolt, but perhaps his family knows some of what he learned. I should also say that it's not true that all of Kiersau's books were destroyed by the fire. Andreas Mahler managed to save some from the flames, God rest his soul. How is that possible? Because everybody, like, we threw some of them on the floor, and then everybody else ran out. So wouldn't they all have burned? In the aftermath of that terrible night, cataloging and preserving the surviving books was not at the top of any of our minds. Even so, this topic has stirred a memory within me. Several years before the fire, there was a death at Kiersau, the murder of Baron Rothvogel. He had mentioned something about finding a copy of Historia Tassiae, a comprehensive chronicle of your home. I had forgotten about it until now, because the murder dominated all of our thoughts in the days and weeks that followed. It troubles me now because I recall that the late Father Matthias was also reading a copy of Historia Tassiae shortly before he died. We never accounted for either book's whereabouts. They may have been hidden somewhere in the library, and went up with everything else. Perhaps Prior Ferenc took it from the Baron after the murder. Ferenc had an interest in books of all sorts, of course, but it seems like an odd thing to do in the moment. Then again, only God knows what he did, and why he did it. Niklaus Heberle, the Baron's manservant, believed it may have been stolen by the town thief, Martin Bauer. If Martin is still alive, I would ask him if he knows where the book is. Hopefully he didn't trade it for a mug of beer on his way out of Tassing. If the man has passed from this world, perhaps his family knows where the book wound up. As for the history of the Abbey, I fear that was also lost in the blaze. However, as sacristan, Prior Mathieu learned a great deal about the subject. I have not kept in contact with him, but I know that he is now the Archdeacon of Sion. He is no longer a Benedictine, but uses his family name, Faustini So. If you write to him soon, your letter may reach him before snow covers Valais. Please convey my best wishes to your father. He was a good friend to the Abbey in its better years. Despite the violence that occurred, I hold no ill will toward anyone from Tassing. I pray that you have seen better days since that night, and that God forgives the many errors we made. God bless you as well. Mother Illuminata, Abbess of Santa Margherita. She's got the oranges wherever she is. Oh, Esther wrote to me as well. My dear Magda, my parents were glad to hear from your father. Please tell him they wish to hear from him soon. Speaking of printing, your ink was well received indeed. I've made several prints with it. They look lovely on the wall. Elisha has taken to making his own ink from scraps he found around the house after he saw yours. Mother was furious when he spent several pfennigs trying to find lapis at the market. She sent him scrubbing the floors for it. Took him 3 days. I'm glad you're keeping busy, even though it keeps you from visiting. Father says we'll have room whenever you decide to make an appearance. And if you do take over the shop in Tassing, you'll have to make visits to Prague for supplies. Who knows? Maybe you'll meet someone here. I've made a good match, too. Before the expulsion, there was a handsome man at synagogue, Simon, who caught my eye. His father is a merchant, and he's a doctor. He went to the University of Padua. Can you believe it? I'd quite like to marry him, if I can find him again. Anyway, I think you'd have even better luck than me. The boys would swoon at a beautiful blonde artist from the Alps. Please keep us abreast of your father's mural. We'll have to come see it when it is finished. Blessings. Esther. I'll have to write Esther back tonight. I should head home and check on Dad. Hey Dad, how are you feeling? Ah, Magdalene. Sitting upright is still a struggle, I'm afraid. The dizziness makes my stomach turn, so I'd rather not eat at the moment. You sure? I can bring up something light, like milk or broth. No, I can't stomach anything just yet. But tell me, where are you off to? I need to get started on the first part of the mural today, the old history. Mother Illuminata didn't know much about Tassing's early history, but she did give me a few places to start. I'm going to ask Black Till if his grandfather told him any stories. Illuminata said he used to read about the Romans. Mother Illuminata, Magdalene. Right, yes, Mother Illuminata. Young Kreutzer has mentioned those tales from time to time, yes. He comes by to borrow books now and then. Usually when he's found some interesting old ruin out in the fields. You might ask him about that. Ill Peter's always harumphed about how no one paid attention to the old ways anymore, too. I'm sure he'll have some stories to tell about old Tassing. You might stop to talk to him. I didn't think of that. Thanks, Dad. Of course, Magda. It's nice to feel useful, even if I am stuck here in bed. Nonsense. I'm just glad you're awake. You might talk to Smokey, too. The old charcoal burner seems to know more about what's in the woods around town than anyone else. That, and he's a known gossip. He's always been kind to me when I chat with him. I'm certain he'll know something about the ruins. You may hear something worth your while, at any rate. I'll go talk to him. What about the ruins or the mines? I can't just use books and stories alone. I want to explore whatever is left over from the Romans and before. The salt mine and Roman ruins are the oldest parts of Tassing, so it only makes sense to see what they left behind. Ah, you take after your mother. She was always thorough in her research. You always said that's what good artists do, Dad. Be careful, alright? I know the twins mess around near the salt mine, but I don't want you getting hurt. I don't know why Jorg doesn't keep them in line. Always making trouble, those two. Don't worry about me, Dad. I'll be careful. Good. I still need you to run the press for a little longer, after all. Don't forget your other chores while you're running around town, alright? We still have a household to run. I'll get to them, Dad. Good, good. Better get going if I want to do all of that today. I'll see you later, Dad. Good luck, Magdalene. Okay. So, we want to try and find the book. We want to talk to, Blacktail, Ill Peter, Martin Bauer, and Smokey. And we'll ask people about the book. So basically we want to go everywhere and look at everything. And try not to pass the time. Hey Mags. Got your way with the mural, huh? I didn't expect you to convince the council like that. Wow, this really is just the dickhead option. I can be pretty stubborn when I want to, Ertz. Clearly, I'm impressed. The rest of the council has been arguing over the matter for so long, even I couldn't get a word in. Then you come in and shut them up in a few minutes. We could use more women like you in the town. There are plenty of opinionated women in town. Want to let us join the council? Heh, well, you'd have to take that up with the Lord. Besides, I don't think any of them are as hard-headed as you. You're the exception, Magdalene. You always are. You really think so? Well, yeah, I wouldn't tell you that otherwise. You're an admirable woman. Anyway, standing up to the council like that was great. I know I'm on the council, but sometimes it doesn't seem like I have any influence. Ertz actually seems insecure about his place on the council. He may be an ass sometimes, but I don't like to see him so upset. Or, he's always poking fun at me too. Maybe I should remind him he's not that important after all. Maybe I should reassure him. You do, though. You vouched for me to do the mural in the first place. Only after your dad did. I still feel bad about that. I should have stuck up for you. Being the youngest one on the council has been harder than I thought. I know Baltus and Werner don't think I'm capable, and even Paul has warned me about being too rash. My dad died trying to make a difference in this town. All I'm trying to do is carry on his legacy, but it seems like the others won't make room for any change. Keep pushing, Arts. They're stuck in the past, but we're looking toward the future of Tassing. Thanks, Magdalene. It'll take time, but maybe they'll listen to me eventually. Oh well, better get back to it. See you later, Mags. God bless you, Magdalene. God bless you, Till. Do you have a moment? Of course. What do you need? Urge says you've been obsessed with your painting. I'm looking into the early history of Tassing for the first part of the mural. Mother Illuminata said your grandfather read about the history of the town. Ah, fertile fields, that is. Seemed like old pot shards and Latin trivia were all he ever talked about. All of Granddad's reading came from the Abbey's library, though. Do you know what happened there? Poof! Up in smoke. So you don't have any of his old books? Only a few. Granddad tried to buy some when the Abbey fell on hard times, but they were too expensive. But I can show you something better than books. Evidence? Something like that. See, we don't have any books on the old pagans, but we do have their stuff. Shards of ceramic pots and animals, bricks from what looks like to be an old forge, mountains of salt. Even found a little bear carved from amber. Where did you find all this stuff? It's not just me. Carl finds things. Fabian, too. Any farmer would tell you the same. It's all out there in the fields, under the dirt. Can't go one season without turning up something. Where are you keeping these things? Nowhere. We just toss them into piles with the rest of the rocks and root clumps. Sure, it's interesting, but we can't do much of anything with the stuff except look at it. What do you think it all means? I don't follow. What do you think they were like? Huh. Guess I never really thought about it. They seem like regular people. Their remains all look like ours. Tools and weapons are rougher, but not badly made. The little carvings and ceramic critters aren't so different from the things Ava made for Ertz. Huh. I suppose I expected them to be more strange. Because they weren't Christians. No doubt they were coarse, but they don't seem especially violent. Not like the church says. Not so different from today, really. Earlier you mentioned something about salt. Did the pagans start the mine? Had to have, I'd say. Most people think it was a Roman project, but I think the Romans just dug out what was already there. That's why Tassin was so important to the Romans in the first place. Salt. So Tassing wasn't just on the Imperial Road. They made the road come through Tassing. Do you think there's anything left of the pagans down there? Don't know, but anything they left would have to be better preserved than what we dig out of the fields. Magdalene, tell me you aren't thinking of going down there. What if there's stuff that could help me with the mural? Magdalene, that mine is hundreds of years old. You could break your neck just getting in there. It's worth it for the mural. I want to try my best, for Dad. Imagine how your dad would feel if you got hurt. So we made the correct choices to persuade him. Then help me get down safely and he won't have to worry. You're bull-headed just like your mother. And your father. Probably couldn't keep you out of there if I tried. Please, Till. Alright, alright. Don't know how to get down there myself, but I know those twins have gotten in a time or two. No doubt they have a trick. And Baltus might not be the most reliable man, but I don't doubt he could rig something up for you too. Thank you, Till. Don't mention it. I'm serious. Don't. This has been a big help. Glad to spread some knowledge around. Important for folks to know their past. You think all this pagan stuff will make it in the mural? You can bring some of the things the boys and I have found over to the Rot House tomorrow, if that'd help at all. That would be great. I'm glad you're taking an interest in Magdalene. I'm glad you're taking an interest, Magdalene. I thought no one cared about the pagans but me and Granddad. I should warn you, if you do head out into the forest, keep an eye out for the Lord's men. They're strict, worse now than they used to be. I'll be careful. Till tomorrow. Till then. Hello, Ava. Magda, darling. Ertz isn't here, I'm afraid. Oh, alright. I think he wandered off toward the Rathaus. Something about the council, but if you ask me, I think he's looking for you. I just talked to him, though. Sorry to disappoint him. Haha. He'll recover once he learns you've dropped by. He's always working on town council business these days, and he's still working at mastering carpentry too. I suggested a few years ago that he take up an apprenticeship, but he was determined to remain in Tassing. I think he's more comfortable here, even if that means he'll never be the craftsman Otto was. I help him how I can, but there's only so much I know how to do. Besides, I think he feels like he's taking care of me, instead of the other way around. Funny how time does that. I think Dad misses Mom, even after all these years. Do you ever miss Otto? Every day. I see him in the little things Ertz does, the way he smiles or how he laughs. I miss my husband, but I'm proud of Ertz. He's growing into a capable young man. I'm excited to see him grow into a husband and father. He'll make a wonderful partner. If he ever grows up, that is. He still acts like a boy half the time. Oh, that's the way of men. The Lord gave them lofty spirits that need to exert themselves. Give it time, Magdalene. You'll see. All men are tempered by marriage. If you say so. Anyway, I'm sure you have better things to do. I'll let you get back to them. Always good to see you, Magda. You too, Ava. Magda. Magdalene, dear. Good day, Magdalene. Hi. How's your father? He's doing better, I think. You have my prayers. You'll need them with Werner on the case. Anna, do not speak ill of the good doctor. He's doing his best. He's a bitter, washed-up drunkard. Everyone knows it. We all have eyes. Yet we ought to trust and believe in him. It may inspire him to be better. Everyone needs the support of their community, Werner included. Just so. As long as he doesn't get anyone killed with his incompetence. No matter. I'm just glad to be sitting down for a moment. I'm so tired. Andreas and Ulrika can wear down even the most vigorous person. Not even young Ertz could keep up with these two. The blessing and the curse of small children. Mom! Ulrika? Is she alright? Oh yes, she wanted to run off and hide so I could find her, after I've caught my breath for a moment. I don't think she appreciates me taking this long. You're not playing along, Andreas. Hiding like your sister. No. This young man won't lose sight of his mom. Say, Magdalene, could you perhaps go find Ulrika in my stead? Oh, of course, I'd be delighted. Wonderful. She's somewhere in town, though I'm not sure where by now. She ran up the street toward the bakery. I imagine you can find her by the giggling. I'll be off then. Hello, Magdalene. How's Klaus? Effie and I are very worried. Not well, Endris. May God look after you both. We've had enough tragedy in this town. Has Gertrude been by to see him? I trust her over that doctor. He's not reliable. He's all Dad and I have. I don't know what to do, Endris. Oh, Magdalene, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't gossip. If there's anything... I'm having trouble telling if that's an F or an S in this case. Resi, and I can do for you, let us know. I will. Thank you for your kindness, Endris. It's nothing. I owe your father more than I can say. Take care, Magdalene. Yeah, Resi. Hello, Mr. Struckeren. How's Klaus? Endris and I have been terribly worried. Dad's spirits are high, but he still gets headaches and spells of dizziness. If there's anything we can help you with, let us know. Endris is always ready to provide. He and Klaus have been friends for a long time. If you don't mind, you weren't born in Passing, am I right? No, I'm originally from Innsbruck. How did you arrive here? The twists of Providence are sudden and unpredictable. I was but a young girl selling all manner of wares on the market, pots and the like. One day this man appears to the stall, all jitters and nerves, stammering over his words, but charming in a way. We spoke at length. I was intrigued and soon enamored, as if a candle had been lit. Endris is a man of talent and means, after all, blessed with a kind soul. How did it feel to leave home for someone, somewhere far away, uprooting yourself from the life you had? Frightening, to be sure, leaving Innsbruck, my friends and family behind. But it was exciting as well, going off to find new opportunities and build a new life. There wasn't much I had to look forward to in Innsbruck, few prospects for a poor girl. I couldn't see myself sitting at the market, continuing to sell odds and ends. Sometimes there are risks we just have to take. Well, that's very inspiring, Resi. I'm glad you find happiness here. We all struggle in this world, but the moments of joy outweigh the bad. It's how God has set the world, His benevolence guiding us through it all. I feel I've been blessed, and it's not been all bad of Endris either. I assist him with the bookkeeping side of the smithy and other things. You must be very good with numbers then. The smithy provides a crucial trade. The market's taught me well. I'm a fair bit more comfortable with numbers than Endris, to say the least. I can't tell you any true answers, but I hope I've provided some encouragement. Don't forget, you are important as well, and deserve to live your life. Alright, I have to assist Endris with a few things. Be well, Magdalene. Till later, Therese. So it's Therese, nicknamed Resi. To quickly drink some water. Just thirsty work voicing all these people. Ah, Magdalene. How are the hinges on your doors? Fine, I guess? Maybe Endris should take a look at them. I would have asked your father, but, well... Anyway, you wouldn't believe how many people in this town leave their hinges to rust. Is that something the council is worried about? Well, Dad always taught me to keep the house in good repair if we can afford it. And now Paul would like to institute a yearly check of all homes in Tassing. What do you think of the idea, York? Well, it's not a bad thing, but I don't see why we need to make it official. Everyone in Tassing helps each other. As I see it, if someone notices a house in disrepair, we all pitch in to fix it. To do anything else would be unchristian. But if Paul wants to see it through, I'm happy to go along with it. Makes me feel useful, you know? Speaking of, I'd better get back to work. Nice to chat with you, Magda. See you later, York. Hello, Magdalene. How's the mural going? I hope my husband hasn't been bothering you about it too much. Has he said anything to you about it? Ha! Mainly he's relieved that they don't have to make a decision about the matter anymore. He runs the farm just fine, but being on the council has made him think he has a say in everything going on in Tassing. Town business is all he talks about these days. Those men are bad influences on each other, if you ask me. Now they're chattering on about a yearly check of the hinges on every door in town. Hinges? Who gives a damn if the hinges on our front doors creak? The council are just old men looking to feel important. We have enough to do as it is. If God wanted them to feel important, he would have made them lords. Anyway, I think it's good of you to be working on the mural. I wish Artemis and Apollo would take interest in something like that. Speaking of, have you seen them around anywhere? I asked them to look after the chickens, but they've disappeared. I haven't seen them recently, but they like to mess around in the forest. Maybe they wandered off there. Ugh. This town isn't that big. I don't know where they get to that I can't find them. Father Thomas says they're only so much trouble because I named them after Greek gods. He says those names have power, but I still like them. Besides, Apollo and Artemis were gods of virtues. If anything, they should be more well-behaved. Names only have as much power as we allow them to have. Can every Greek name really invoke pagan gods? Maybe you're right. Father Thomas spends too much time in his books. Besides, then he'd be in a poor state. Father Thomas the Doubter. Anyway, I'd better go find those rascals. Good luck on the mural, Magdalene. Thanks, Veronica. Till later. Hello, Magdalene, dear. How are you? How's Klaus? It's hard to know for certain. One day he seems well, and the next I can hardly understand his words. Oh, Magdalene, I'll keep praying for you both. The both of you deserve the best. Life's been hard enough for you already. Please let me know if you need any help around the house. I'd be happy to help. Oh, the housework. I've been so caught up in the workshop in Rathaus, I forgot. Not to worry, I can come by and help out. Besides, then we can chat, and chatter makes chores pass quickly. With all my children up and grown, and no husband to care for anymore, I've got to make myself useful somehow. So Peter died, but ill Peter is still alive. Big Jorg is still in the house, though, isn't he? Oh, yes, but he's a grown man with children of his own. He and Veronica are capable of caring for their own household now. Ava is taking care of Ertz, and Ursula and Fabian have their own life together. They don't need me anymore. You sound sad. Oh well, I suppose I am. I thank God that my children are all grown and prospering, but I do feel there's been something missing in my life. After so many years of tending to them and maintaining a home, I don't know what else to do. You could always find something new to do. Keep busy by helping Gret in the bakery or something. Jorg has been telling me to rest more, but you're right. I'd rather keep busy as long as there's life left in these old bones. Well, that's settled. I'll come over to help around the house soon, alright? I'll see you then, Clara. God bless you, Magdalene. That's good, so we don't have to waste time doing the housework. We can team up, and I can have more time to wander around the town. Hello, Peter. Can I talk to you for a moment? Eh? What's that? I was wondering if you could tell me some of the stories about Tassing. Oh, the old tales, It's been so damn long since anyone had a thought to ask me about what I know. But there's still a few of the old tales knocking about in this skull. Are there any myths from even before the Romans came to Tassing? Of course there are. The Romans weren't the first ones to live here, you know? There are spirits older than the saints that live in these woods, older than the Romans. They protected Tassing before St. Moritz ever set a blessed foot in town. I thought spirits only caused trouble, spoiling milk, making livestock sick, things like that. Some do, yes. But who do you think beats the spirits off? Us? What can farmers do against spirits, eh? It's Perchta and her wild hunt that scare them evil ones away. They've protected Tassing since its founding day. Long before those Romans, our ancestors roamed these mountains under a great chieftain called Rhaetus. Wait, isn't Rhaetus a Latin name? Eh? The ending on his name is the masculine singular ending common on most male Roman names. Plenty of names end with the same letters. Doesn't make them Latin, does it? Now quit your yammering and listen. So I'm pretty sure that the Ratii is the Latin name for this tribe of Gauls that lived in this area, or if not Gauls, like the Germans that lived here. I remember reading about them a long time ago when I read Caesar's, like, his memoirs of his campaigns in Gaul. So, while Magdalene is right that Rhaetus would be a Latin name, it's just because, like, that's the records that we have of these people, that they would have, like, Latinized the names. Folk weren't as kind as they are now, and the tribes fought one another for the best land. The old chieftain was a yellow-bellied coward who neglected the old gods. He was too proud to make offerings. Because of him, the gods favored other tribes, and Rhaetus' people had no land to call their own. Instead, they wandered through these mountains and valleys, hunting and gathering what they could to survive. Is this a real place? Sel asked. Yes, we're in Bavaria, which is a real region of Germany. We're close to the Alps. I don't know if Tassing, like the town specifically, is a real place. It very well could be. But, like, the general vicinity, the Ratii, like St. Moritz, those are all, like, real people that were present. So there's a lot of, like, historical research that's gone into this game. That's, as far as I can tell, not being a German historian specifically, or, like, a Bavaria historian specifically, it all checks out to me and seems legit. One day, when winter was approaching, Rhaetus went hunting and found a wounded wolf tangled in a trap. But instead of killing the beast, as most men would, he helped the beast and loosed it from its bounds. Was the wolf a spirit in disguise? Of course not. Wolves are wolves, girls. Spirits don't need the skins of animals for their power. Still, you've got the sense of the thing. The old gods are keen to repay favors done, and Perchta is the goddess of the wild hunt. The wolves are her animals. She leads the wild hunt, and the wolves lead the hunts of the forest. Back in my day, folk knew it was bad luck to kill a wolf. Now I'm the only one who remembers these things. Perchta saw Ratus's action and took favor on him, and told the wolf to lead the chief to her sacred spring. Ratus led his people to the spring and claimed it for his homeland, and we've been in this valley ever since. Then those goddamn Romans came and destroyed everything. But you see, there were other gods protecting this place before St. Moritz. It's why a few of us still honor Perchta. She protects us against witches and fiends. It's a wonderful story. Perfect for the first part of the mural. Good, good. Nice to know I can still be of some use in this town. What about the Romans? Do you know any Roman legends of Tassing? Roman legends? Ha! I don't bother with stories from outsiders, or tales of gods that aren't our own. The Romans did nothing but conquer our people and destroy this town. We've spent generations after generation building Tassing back up from those days. And still, our traditions keep dying, with no one to carry them on. Only Ursula's given a damn about them these days. That's why I want to know, Peter. These stories need to be on the mural. The mural, Fine, fine. But I don't know any of the old Roman shit. Alright, alright. I have a lot to think about. Thank you for sharing your stories with me, Peter. At least someone wants to listen to me. Little Ursula used to sit by me years ago and listen to everything about the old customs. Too busy for that now, of course, but you might talk to her. She might remember more than I do now. You used to listen to the widow, too. Old Otilia knew more about the old ways than any of us. I'm tired. Talking so much has made my jaw ache. I'll leave you to rest then. God bless you, Peter. Okay, so we have a quest that isn't quite on our log yet to go into the salt mines and look at some of the like artifacts, and then we have like the myth version as well. So it would be cool if we can try and incorporate both of those elements. Hello, Magdalene. Hello, Hans. I hope your dad recovers quickly. He's a good man. Thank you. I'll tell him you said that. Good. This town has seen too many terrible things, but we've recovered before. Maybe the Lord will return your dad to health, too. I pray you're right. Be glad you have this time with him, I say. Wish I'd had as much with Heilvig. Anyway, I should get back to it. Till later, Hans. Hey, Magdalene. I heard what happened to your dad. How's he doing? Resting. He suffered a severe blow to the head. I'm worried, to say the least. Hans sends his regards. The Bauer household is praying for a swift recovery. Thank you. Thank Hans and Jutta as well. I will. Klaus has always been such a bedrock of Tassing. I'd hate for him to die. It'd be, sorry. It's fine. I fear it as well. It's best not to ignore one's fears. Do you miss your father? The real one, I mean. Do I miss him? Kind of. I don't remember Joseph all that much. He's become a haze of sorts. A faint echo, a feeling, an occasional emotion. I was so young when he got killed. Mom said I had trouble understanding what had happened for a long time. I understand. My mom, she's like an empty hole in my life. I have nothing of her. Yeah, you never even got to see her, right? Not even a memory, huh? Suppose you have yourself for comparison. God molded you after her. Can imagine how she would have been like. Stubborn and unruly, yeah? But can I know if I'm actually like my mom? All I have are stories from people. Well, you read books, don't you? Stories are about things that are true. Books and stories are about a lot of things. Oh, well, I can't read anyway. Would you want to learn? Don't have the time. Work on the farm never ends, especially with the taxes eating at us. Anyway, the winter draws closer, so I got a lot of preparations to take care of. I truly hope Klaus recovers soon. God look after you both. Till later, Simon. I wonder if we can marry Simon. Hello, Magdalene. How's the mural coming? I hear you browbeat the council into letting you do it yourself. It took some work, but I convinced them to let me paint the rot house, yes. Haha! Well, it's good to see those stubborn bastards can be moved. God may have made man from dust, but I swear he left some of them with rocks for brains, too. Did you know Jorg was by to check on my hinges? I've had about enough of their silly projects. That Zimmerman boy seems to have a good head on his shoulders, though. Once you're settled down with him, you'll have a good life ahead of you. Think I'd rather marry for love, Hetty. Love comes in time, Magdalene, you'll see. Besides, that Ertz is a good boy. You could do worse. Maybe. We'll see. But you were always going to forge another path, just like your mother. I've no use for the world beyond passing, but I wish you good luck in it. Thanks, Hetty. I'll see you later. Until then. Hey, Magdalene. It would be good if we can marry Simon, because he's, like, not a dickhead to us, and doesn't seem to be, like, self-important. God bless you, Magdalene. Hello, Matilda. Hello, Voislav. How are you two? Very well. The Lord has blessed us more than we deserve. And how are you, Magdalene? I was worried with you keeping the house and the workshop all on your own. Let me bring by some soup for you and your father. You're very kind, Matilda, thank you. Not at all, Magdalene. This is how Voislav and I serve passing. Our vocation may have changed, but our gratitude to God in the town has not. It's hard to imagine you two ever lived in the Abbey. Ha! Sometimes those days feel like another lifetime. A harder time, to be sure. I thought the Abbey was better off than the town in those years. So we were told, but in private I believe Father Gerno struggled to provide for a scriptorium and a double monastery. However, seeing both the town and Kiersau struggle was only a part of what made that time hard. A nun's life can be a challenging one, but I never had to deal with the difficulties you do now, Magdalene. What about your old life was difficult for you? I struggled with my vows, my discipline. I couldn't live as my sisters did. I broke my vows, as did Voislav. Well, I picked the dickhead specialization, but I don't want to do it all the time. I want to strategically deploy it. We fell in love. We did. Well, I seduced her. You certainly did not. Are you telling young Magda here that you seduced me, then? Voislav, please. So you left the Abbey? Though no one learned of what we did, Andreas did, by the way, the matter ate at my heart. That, and being falsely accused of murdering the old Baron, terrified you, and rightly so. No one accused her. We specifically kept her name out of everything. We all must account for our sins, Magdalene. I was afraid I would account for mine sooner than I thought. Those were the hardest years of my life. I repented and prayed to God to absolve me. But the Lord always provides, even in the darkest days. The Abbey's destruction gave us a second chance. That must have been incredibly difficult. Many of the other brothers and sisters left for other callings, and it was simple enough to set up shop here. I miss the sisters terribly some days, but truthfully it's been a relief not to be constrained by my vows. The Lord forgives more readily than man, Magdalene. Never think that you must remain in a place that causes you to sin, even if others think it godly. I'm glad you two are finally able to live life together. You both deserve it. Only by the grace of God are we in this life together. May it be many more years before you part. God willing. Anyway, Magdalene, I'll send that soup over to you shortly. Thank you, Matilda. God bless you, Magda. God bless. That's nice. So I wonder if Brother Guy was one of those that found a new calling. I wonder if he went back to Burgundy. Morning, Magdalene. How's Klaus? Enduring. Even when his speech is slurred, he keeps a cheerful heart. I don't know what life would be like without him. Klaus is a good man, Magdalene. Tassing is a better place thanks to him. He's one of the few in Tassing who hasn't been on my back all this time. What do you mean? Don't pretend like you haven't heard. Townsfolk have whispered shit about me for years. So what if I occasionally get into a few brawls? I'm an honest man. I wasn't involved with what happened to Otto Zimmerman. I supported his cause. I pulled my weight around here, tilled the soil, salted the meats, provided for Brigitte and Kraft. I've done enough back-breaking work for this family. Can't a man just have a goddamn rest? Why are you always getting into fights anyway? Sometimes an asshole just needs to get his teeth pounded in. Does beating the shit out of someone really solve a problem? Maybe. Don't want to solve problems, though. Don't have the patience anymore. Had enough. Just want what I'm owed. Right. I've lost enough time to this as it is. Time for you to go. Wait, I almost forgot the reason I came to you. I'm trying to learn about the history of Tassing. I was told you could help. Me? What do I know about history? Mother Illuminata told me you borrowed a book of local history from Baron Rothvogel. Mother Illuminata? Oh, you mean one of the old nuns from the convent? Sure, a book. I might have taken it back then. That was a lifetime ago. I can't remember the book or what I did with it. Those years are a blur. Probably threw it away somewhere or left it at home. Wouldn't have been much for me to do with the book. I can't read. Too unique for me to have sold, too. No one outside Tassing cares about its history anyway. Maybe I should ask Brigitte if she remembers anything about it. Sure, couldn't hurt. It was decades ago, but she's the one who remembers shit. Thanks for the help, I guess. Uh-huh. If there's nothing else, I've got work to do. Till later, Martin. Till then. I don't want to provoke him because he feels like he's like boiling over anyways. Magdalene, how are you keeping? So much to do before Christmas. I'm certain it will be the pride of Tassing when you're through. You've always had your mother's talent for art. And how's your dad? You're one of the only people who've asked how I'm doing before asking about my dad. I know how it is to be the sole caregiver. Yourself disappears behind the needs of the person you're looking after. I worried about you carrying that weight alone. I remember when my dad fell. We cared for him best we could, but those few months before he passed were a tough time for everyone. But I believe God will pull your dad through, whatever the doctor says. We need him. I don't know what I'll do if he dies. I feel crazy even thinking about it. Should the worst come to pass, you will not be alone, Magdalene. Believe me. You may feel like you are, but... Have you thought about what you'll do if your dad doesn't come through this? I'd have to get married. You remember what happened to Ottilia? That poor woman. But you're a good girl, Magda. There are any number of families in Tassing who'd be happy to take you. You have someone in mind, don't you? I literally can't imagine who you'd be alluding to. There's not a single young man of quality in this town. Not even young Ertz. He's about as subtle as his father. God rest Otto's soul. Ah, I miss him. Well, I already did it once. I don't need to drive the point home. I wish I'd got to meet him. Properly, I mean. He made an impression, that's for certain. Oh, the girls around town knew better than to mourn after him, though that didn't stop some of us. He was Ava's from the start. This Ertz appears to be yours. But if nothing ever comes of that, know that you're always welcome in my family, Magda. Croft's a nice, hard-working boy. He's got a sharp mind. He can provide for a family. Are you trying to set me up with your son? Can you blame a mother for trying? You're a good, respectable girl, Magda. Any family would be lucky to have it as a daughter. I guess I'll consider it. Thank you, sweet girl. Not every marriage starts off on solid footing, but if you pray and work and trust in the Lord, you can find it in time. Believe me. If it's not working out, how can you be sure a couple belongs together? God knows. He brings people together for a purpose. We don't need to understand it, only to have faith in Providence. In any case, I should get back to the chores. So she's not gonna suggest that I hook up with a lady in town. It seems to be how she got through her marriage. Just saying. Remember what I said. Whatever happens, you're always welcome in my home. Oh, before I forget, I actually had a question about an old book. Martin is supposed to have stolen it from that baron who was killed years ago. Do you know what happened to it? Oh. I hope this doesn't get me into any trouble, but I still have it, hidden in a drawer. Martin left it behind when he ran off. He went to all the trouble to take it, but he didn't bring it along. Martin was a thief, but he wasn't stupid. I'm sure he realized no one would believe he'd come by the book honestly, so he couldn't sell it. Why'd you keep it? What was I supposed to do? The Baron was killed soon after, and there I was, holding his stolen book. I didn't want Martin to get in any more trouble than he was already in. I never read it, though. I don't read well. Can I have it? I don't know. I need to reference it for the mural. But won't everyone wonder where you got the ideas? I've been talking to people all over town. They'll think I got the ideas from them. Oh, alright. I'd like to have nothing more to do with it, to be frank. It reminds me of difficult times. A stolen book of a dead nobleman in our home. Perhaps it spoiled our milk and turned our eggs all these years. Here you are. Please don't tell anyone I had this. Ah, Historia Taciae. Oh, it's in Latin. I can understand a few words and phrases. I'll take a closer look in the evening. Thank you, Brigitte. You've been a big help. Of course, Magda. Be well now. God bless. You too, Brigitte. Till later. So we have the book. That was easier than I thought it would be. We'll have to talk to Baltus and Smokey and Apollo and Artemis when we go to the mine. Morning, Magdalene. How's the mural coming along? Well, I think I'm off to start the first part of the mural today. I'll paint the founding of Tassing and the Romans. Well, you won't want for any models. Tassing is littered with Roman ruins. It's almost a nuisance. What sort of mural are you creating, Magdalene? I believe Klaus was planning on a fresco. Well, I'll start with the intonatio, and then paint the fresco over it so that I have a clear consistency. Ah, I see. Do you have enough plaster? The Rathaus wall is so large I was worried it wouldn't stay wet for long. Since when did the town miller know so much about art? It's been an interest of mine since childhood, but my father disapproved. After my mother and I left Tassing, we stayed with her family for a few months before we heard what happened. My father's friend, Andreas, he encouraged me to draw. While we were away, I studied in my uncle's library. I've collected books about various art styles since we returned. I had no idea, Paul. Why didn't you want to paint the mural yourself? Haha, I'm not nearly as skilled as you or your father. I know I had my doubts about you taking on the project, Magdalene, but you're the most skilled artist in Tassing. After your father, of course. Ah, well, anyway, I'm glad the mural is going well. Forgive my sudden questioning about it. I've been so busy preparing for the council's next meeting, I haven't had as much time with Anna as usual. She says I get a bit frantic when I'm overwhelmed. Is the council working on something? Oh, we know what they're working on, the stupid hinge inspection thing. But we'll ask anyway. We're considering yearly maintenance checks on every house in Tassing. The idea has had quite a bit more pushback than we'd anticipated. I can understand the utility of the proposition, but it might feel like a nuisance. Precisely. That's the issue we've run into. This would help protect those in Tassing who don't have the skill to fix things themselves. Widows like Agnes or Gret. But without instituting it for the whole town, we can't enforce the proposition. In any case, the matter is far from resolved. I imagine spring will come before anything is actually done. Better get back to work. Thank you for letting me interrupt your day, Magdalene. God bless you. Till later, Paul. So we can't ask Ursula about this stuff right now, even though ill Peter suggested we do so. We'll try later, I guess. Oh, God bless you, Magdalene. And you, Father Thomas. You look troubled. What's the matter? You seem to have lost the key to the tabernacle. Without it, we'd have to go without the Eucharist on Sunday. Can't you borrow some from the poor Clares? What? Oh no, I consecrate the host for them as well. I usually take it to them before we begin Mass in town. Without the Blessed Sacrament, we cannot truly celebrate Mass. Without Mass, everyone in Tassing risks their salvation. So, our salvation could be in peril because you lost the key to the tabernacle. Well, I wouldn't put it quite like that. Should I need to, I'll have Gret bake a loaf, and I can consecrate that. Even afterward, I cannot leave the host out. I must find that key. I'll keep an eye out for it, Father. Thank you, Magdalene. Please, let me know if you have any ideas as to where it might be. God bless you. Oh, she is still here. We can talk to her. God bless you, Magdalene. God bless you, Sister Amelie. What brings you to the church this time of day? Lighting another votive candle for your father. I was hoping to speak with you, sister. Have you seen Father Thomas's tabernacle key anywhere? He's misplaced it. Afraid I have not. Everything in the church has been as it should be. Though I did hear the 2 Gertner children come in last evening. I did not rise, but I heard their whispering for a moment. They left as suddenly as they came. Why didn't you say anything? I didn't think anything of it. Many people come into the church throughout the week. This is a sacred space, and the people of Tassing respect it as such. They respect my privacy in this place, and I respect theirs. I see. I've seen the twins come into confession more than most of the young folk in Tassing. Their intentions last night may have been pure. If not, however, it would be Christian to remind them that theft is against the commandments. Of course, I might go have a chat with them. I advise that you do what you feel is right in your heart. Thank you, sister. God bless you. God bless you, Magdalene. Good morning, Magdalene. Brisk weather today, isn't it? But still, Croft is out there working with Father Thomas to repair the church. I worry about that boy sometimes. He works the stone, but I'm not always sure he has his mind set on it. Masonry is a good trade. Everyone needs a stonemason now and then to repair things. That they do. Lucky always harped on about how being honest and trustworthy is the most valuable currency. How, in this life, hard work and reputation matter the most. Croft has taken that to heart, I think. He does a lot of good for the town. I've offered to find an apprenticeship for him, but he won't make his damn mind up. He deserves a chance at the life he wants. He's lived in his father's shadow for too long. He's a good man, Agnes. You should be proud. Thank you, Magdalene. I've done my best for my household, despite what's happened in the past few decades. Ah well, you didn't come here to hear me ramble on about my family. What can I do for you? I thought you might have some additional remedies for my father. Our Werner's not enough. I understand Klaus's condition is dire, but I thought Werner would be able to provide something. I know it won't save him, but I still want to try everything I can. Every little bit helps, I understand. Let me see what I can whip up. I can't promise anything, but God willing, I pray it provides some small help. Thank you, Agnes. Of course, Magdalene. Take care. Magdalene, darling. Good morning, Gret. It smells heavenly in here. Oh, I've just finished rolling out some raisin bread. I thought that Andreas and Ulrika could use a treat today. Any special occasion? Oh, not really. Didn't want the raisins to go to waste. Besides, I like to drop in on Anna and see my grandchildren. I'm more blessed than I ever imagined I would be. Paul and Anna make such a lovely pair. Ulrich wouldn't believe his eyes if he saw us now. I wish he could see his grandchildren. I'm sure he is rejoicing with all the saints in heaven, Gret. I do hope so. He was never much for emotional displays, but I still remember his joy when Anna was born. You know, I was angry when Anna first took a liking to young Paul. He was always a quiet boy, but I was afraid he'd turn out like his father. Well, I needn't have worried. Paul is a good man and a good father. He's built this town back up from what it was. And Elsa dotes on those children more than I do. She's certainly come a long way from the meek woman I met. Really? She seems so kind, though. I can't imagine her as anything else. Oh, well, Leonard was a hard man to live with. He had a firm hand. You wouldn't know it by how she and Paul are, the kindest souls you'll ever meet. I've been chatting too long. My does need tending. Please excuse me, Magdalene. Of course, Gret, till later. I didn't ask for help finding the kid because I've actually already spotted her lurking in the eaves over here. Aha, there you are. You found me. Bet you can't find me again, Mag. Got you. Aw, you found me again. Wait here. I will find a better spot. I will find a better spot. Magdalene, hello. I was just jotting down a few new ideas. Did you need something? Yes, if you have a moment. I need to get into the old salt mine, but I don't have a way down. Can you help me? To get into the salt mine, yes? You must be on quite the adventure. Ideally, we could rig up a double pulley system to lower and raise yourself in the shaft. But that might take a while. Well, I would like to go in today, if possible. Of course. Would a good length of rope suffice? You could brace against the wall of the mine shaft. Are you strong enough to support your own weight? Against the wall? I think so. Excellent. Thank you, Baltus. Of course. Here you go. Do be careful, though. Make sure the ropes are secure. I will. Until later. Good luck, Magdalene. So now we're just gonna carry this rope around with us. Werner is nowhere to be seen. Maybe at the pub. Okay. So we need to go to the forest and talk to Smokey, and then find Artemis and Apollo. Oh, another dialogue with him. Oh, we'll talk to the kids first. You can't hide from me, little bean. You're too good, Mag. I will go find Mom now. We'll head up this way first, because the forest is our ultimate destination. And I was right, Werner is here. Magdalene, tell me something. Alright. Why was I cursed with a life in Tassing? What does this pathetic little hamlet have to offer a man like me? Tell me, Magdalene. He's a dickhead to everyone, so I'm gonna be a dickhead back. More than you have to offer it, which is nothing. I was destined for the courts of kings, not a town full of peasants who churn out more of themselves than the rabbits in the meadow. A town where craftsmen, learned men like myself, Baltus, even your father, have their minds wasted. And in a few decades we will be dead and Tassin will forget us all. God doesn't care. He never cared for me. He deserted us all when the abbey was destroyed, if he even exists. You've had too many, Doctor. You don't know what you're saying. I've never been more clear-headed. You sound like Baltus, always vomiting a torrent of words. Stupid words. Yet this gaggle of fools is the best you could do. You were born a failure. You bitch. No, you're trying to provoke me. I won't rise to it. You'll never find a husband with that attitude of yours, girl. If you're the kind of bachelor I can expect to choose from, I should become a nun. I'm a good man, damn you. Educated. Important. I could have any woman I wanted, if I cared to try. Well, I think he's in love with Baltus, and now he's mad because Baltus got an accountant who's like a hot, younger Italian man. You'd be a hideous nun anyway. If you're determined to be an asshole, I'm going to leave. I have a mural to work on. Do what you want, Magdalene. Just don't ruin the mural. Not that it matters anyway. We'll see if Gertrude can give us medicine for our dad as well. Oh, hello, Magda. You wouldn't happen to be going to the convent? Why do you ask? You think you join the poor Clares? Maybe. Oh, that's a nice idea. I think so. I'm not sure. Be honest. What do I have to look forward to? With Dad's injury, me unwed at 25, older than all the boys in town. They don't see me as a sister, they see me as a mom. And when Dad dies, not anytime soon, God willing, I won't be able to claim the farm. I'll lose my home. With Anton gone, there's nobody to take it over. It's unfair. You should be able to inherit the property. The laws of man seems cruel compared to the laws of God. If I'm destined to poverty, why not live with those who do the same? Why not withdraw from the trials of the world? You know as well as I, it's not safe out here. The Abbey's walls didn't protect it during the revolt. Sooner or later, the world comes knocking with swords. I don't like to think about things like that. I have enough worries to keep me sleeping as it is. The joining of the Poor Clares is a lifelong commitment. I don't know if I'm ready for that. Bruh. I mean, I don't have a strong opinion either way. I don't know her well enough. But if she wants to, I mean, why not? Do it. Okay. I mean, what other prospects do you have? Well, you could leave tasking entirely, find a suitable husband. It would be daunting, but it's possible. Just because I don't have prospects in tasking doesn't mean I can't find some elsewhere. Don't quite want to give up on the rest of the world just yet. Besides, I still have Dad to take care of. If I joined the Order, he'd be on his own. I don't think it's the right time for me to join the Poor Clares. Maybe someday, but not yet. Thanks for talking with me, Magda. I've had a lot on my mind. Glad I could help, Martha. Till later. Female. It's clear that she doesn't want to right now, so that's also fine. I don't feel the need to persuade her. God bless you, Magdalene. God bless you, Sister Gertrude. Are you doing all right? Father Thomas told us about your father's attack. You were incredibly courageous to run to Dr. Stoltz so quickly, especially when the attacker could have been about. I had to do something. Even if whoever attacked Dad was still there, I had to do something. The Lord was with you that night. I'm thankful you were not in harm's way. I lit an extra votive candle in St. Satya's shrine for each of you this morning. Dad says that the pain has gone down, but Dr. Stoltz is worried about a brain hemorrhage. You might have some psyllium left in the herb hut. If you blend it with broth or warm wine, it will heat his brain and prevent infection. Thank you, sister. I'm grateful for all the help everyone in Tassing has provided. The church is the body of Christ, Magdalene. We are all one community, and we want to help Klaus before his time. God will turn this for good, no matter what things look like now. He sees beyond time itself, but we are constricted by the present. I've been around long enough to see fruits, even when I thought the devil had burned the fields. Keep faith, Magdalene. I'll do my best. God bless you, sister. It's interesting that we've had so many, choices, whether or not to say, the religious thing or not. And it makes me wonder if that's just, for roleplay purposes, or if it's ultimately going to have an effect on, her religiousness. God bless you, Magdalene. I've been hoping to speak with you. Do you perhaps have a moment? Of course, Mother. How can I help? I'd heard that you had taken up the mural in the Rathaus after your father's terrible attack. That's right. What of it? Your enthusiasm and insistence is most troubling to some people in town. Some people? Yes, Magdalene, myself included. I understand how you must have struggled with your mother passing while you were so young. Without a maternal figure to guide you, it is no wonder your spirit has wandered and wavered from its nature. I'm not sure what you mean, Abbess. The pursuit of such trades is not for women, but men. As Paul writes, God calls women to work at home, not in trades. While supporting your father is laudable, taking on his work is imprudent. There are plenty of young men in Tassing worthy of you, or perhaps you have a different calling. I'd like to offer you a place here among the sisters. Wait, Who's saying I'm troubling? And how did you hear that anyway? Aren't you all stuck up here? Magdalene, your insistence to paint the mural has been the talk of the town. Even the sisters hear something of what effect is passing. But if you must know, Father Thomas suggested that joining the convent may be good for you. It's definitely Father Thomas. He is the one that's been doing this all along. And he's like the one that attacked my dad. I agree with him. You both need to stop. Gossip isn't very Christian, Mother Francesca. Magdalene, that wasn't our intention. We are simply doing our best to look after you. The people of Tassin care for you, Magdalene. Do not forget that. If you do seek guidance, I am always available. God bless you. Yeah, I don't think we'll be, joining the convent. Hello. Is there something I can do for you? Knives need sharpening? I'm Magdalene Druckerin. Are you a friend of Smokey's? I'd like to think so. I'm Václav. I'm a tinker. Travel around and help people out with sharpening knives, little things like that. Druckerin, are you a printer's daughter? My father and I are both printers. Do you sample the wares much? Yes, I read books. Václav, don't. You're going to get in trouble again. Trouble? For me? No, not you, Mr. Druckerin. This one can't help but talk to people about all of the strange things he believes. He reads all sorts of books, talks to odd folks, gets ideas brewing in his head. Now that doesn't bother old Smokey none. Bothers some other people a whole lot. Who? Priests? Some people with limited imagination. Inquisitors? 2 inquisitors. No need to overstate the danger. Do I want to know what happened? A long time ago I got into an argument with some people in town. They told Father Thomas. To his credit, he told them to let it go, but somehow an inquisitor found out. Anyway, I had to leave for a while. So, books? Strange ideas? Yes. The host, the Eucharist, the bread and wine, the body and blood of Christ. Holy Communion, what about it? More and more people are writing about rejecting transubstantiation. The idea that the bread and wine of the Eucharist literally becomes the body and blood of Christ. Here we go. Yes? Well, there are 2 ways to look at it. The first is on the grounds that Vyctiv and Hus rejected it. Using our eyes, our senses, there's nothing perceptible that changes in the character of the bread and the wine. Must our senses necessarily encompass all of God's miracles for them to be real? No, not at all, but for what reason would God place them outside of the compass of our understanding? As an act of faith, blessed are those who believe but have not seen. But if that is the case, of what importance is the material composition of the host? Even if the bread and wine turn to Christ's body and blood, why is that necessary for spiritual communion? We are bound by flesh, attempting to reunite with the light of God through the Eucharist. The act, the observance, unites our will with that of Christ. He is present in us through the remembrance, not the physical act. Isn't that... So what does that matter? Are you saying we shouldn't take communion? No, there's nothing wrong with taking communion as a rite, or act. But if you accept what I'm saying, there are other things I'd like to discuss. I'm not listening to any of this. Are you ready to hear why it's important to disbelieve in transubstantiation? Sure, why not? I'll admit I hoped for some more enthusiasm regarding the fate of our souls, but alright. This all starts with Lucifer creating the world. Jesus Christ. We'll get to him. God was the Word, and the Word was truth, and truth is light. The light is God's will. God's light contained aspects, what we consider angels, facets of his infinite intellect. One of these aspects separated itself from his intellect and manifested in the darknesses, the corrupt will, Lucifer. By what power could a portion of God's will separate from the whole? The will moved itself. God's intellect, being infinite, also contained the capacity to transcend the infinite. To exit outside of the boundaries of infinite light, the corrupt will brought into being an equally infinite darkness. Within that darkness, Lucifer cast his false light, a corrupted imitation of the divine intellect, to create the world. All material in our world is inherently a corrupted manifestation of that false light. We still have a connection to God through our intellect, but it is flawed by existing in our physical bodies. So Genesis is wrong? There are many stories of creation, many versions even of Genesis. Why is it you believe yours is the correct one? You believe the one your church has given you. Maybe if you were given another, you would have believed that instead. Was Jesus flawed by being a man even though he was born of a virgin? He was not born of a virgin. I'm not hearing any of this. And it would not matter if he were. Lucifer was a rebellious splinter of God's will. The Christ appeared when God willed his divine intellect into Jesus. But you said that physical bodies were all corrupt. Yes, but while we are the heirs of Lucifer's rebellious intellect, Christ received wisdom from the light of God himself. He truly did die and was truly resurrected in body. But his reappearance was only important for him to convey the message of salvation to the people. In truth, resurrection is always happening, since if we die without grace, our souls are condemned to be reborn. This physical world is the only hell we know, living again and again, the only torment. This is an interesting conversation. Personally, I have no opinion. Not being Christian myself, I know that a lot of these are like actual heresies. So I think it's really interesting that this guy is just like going around and trying to convince everyone of his heretical beliefs. But I mean, free thought, I guess. It's interesting that he I remember the last time he was here, he'd wanted to look at the books in the Abbey, and he was denied from doing so. So it seems like he's really wanting to, like, his calling would be as like a theological philosopher, and instead he's sharpening knives. I think that's a sad way to look at life, though. Maybe, but it is how I see it. In 5 years, I may see it another way. Anyway, thank you for indulging me, Magdalene. Of course. Till later. Till then. Good day, Mr. Strookerin. I've told you, Smokey. Call me Magdalene. Old habits, I suppose. What brings you to my corner of the world? More gossip? Only ancient gossip. I was wondering if you knew anything about the old pagan and Roman mines. The mines? Is this a new interest of yours, Magdalene? I don't see the townsfolk trek out there as much anymore. Last I saw were those two twins making trouble. They know a way in, but I'll be damned if I ever set foot close to that place. What are you so interested in over there? The mural in the Rathaus needs a section about the earliest days of Tassing. The mines are the oldest part of Tassing, and you keep a keen ear. I thought you might have heard something. Don't know about getting down into the mines, but I do know a fair few stories about them, and the other Roman ruins around here. The old stories my father used to tell me when he was the burner of Tassing. The one about Mars and Tassia, the nymph, was always my favorite, though I blame that on my youth. Tassia, like Tassing. Folk named the town after a pagan god, a Roman one at that. I don't mind telling you the tale, Magdalene, but I warn you, it's a bit bawdy. Oh, count me curious. Ha! I won't be scandalizing you. Can't have your father hounding me for any coarseness. But I'll tell the decent bits of what I remember. Alright, what's the story? Well, legend says that Mars was hunting in these woods and spied a fat boar for the taking. He just pulled back his spear when he heard a woman scream in terror. Of course, the creature ran off, and the god was angry at the loss of his quarry. So he tramped through the woods to see why a woman was in the forest and not in the local town. Why would a god be hunting in Tassing's forest? How should I know? Maybe he just wanted a brisk walk. Besides, why should anything the gods do make sense? These were the old days when spirits and ghosts prowled. What do you mean prowled? Prowled. You know, like spirits and other evil things do. I can't just say they walked through the woods like you or me. They prowled. Alright. Keep going. So Mars found a nymph, Tassia, bathing in a spring with a fat, ugly satyr goading her from the shore. Enraged at seeing the trapped nymph, Mars transformed into a wolf and slew the satyr. And in return, well, Tassia bathed the god. Ah, I see. I did warn you, Magdalene. When Mars left the pool, he dripped onto the ground and it blossomed with flowers and crops. They say that's why this valley is so fertile. We've been growing crops here for generations. People would want a reason for that, even if it was the gods. Whatever the reason, Tassing's been blessed with fertile ground for hundreds of years. So much of what the Romans left behind was destroyed over the years, but I like that we still have the tales. You can never really destroy stories as long as there are people to tell them. Of course, the Romans left a hell of a lot behind, too. The town is more Roman than Bavarian, really. It's an interesting story, especially because in Act 2 we found the Nymphaeum, which Andreas, with his occultist background, was able to recognize as being a temple to a nymph, in addition to just like a cistern for the aqueduct. So it sounds like they did actually build a temple to Tassia, the nymph that Smokey is talking about in this story. And it's also interesting because all of these stories, this one with Mars and the wolf and Tassia, and the story of that Till told about Gaius Metellus and Mars, in the story that Brother Mathieu told about Saint Moritz and Saint Satya, which, by the way, sounds quite a bit like Tassia. They all have these same themes of like miraculous plant growth. And so I think it's really interesting that we have these continued elements, and it's really interesting that we have this local saint, Saint Satya, which is just an anagram of Tassia, when I'm reasonably confident that Saint Satya is not like a canonized, recognized saint by the church broadly, and is more just a local thing. Oh right, the town was named after Tassia the nymph. That, and how much of the town is built upon the Roman foundations. Tassing is actually much smaller now than it was in the Romans' day. At least that's what I make of it. The ruins go deep into the forest, and all the way to the old mine. Half of Tassing is built on Roman stone. Take a walk around town and you'll start noticing things. We used their stone to build. The old temple by Sati's shrine has grown over, but the aqueduct runs for miles. Even the abbey used to be an old Roman fort. You can see some of the Roman paved stones under the road if you look hard. We may not be Roman, but this town is. Tassing has been building upon itself for hundreds of years. What a beautiful idea. That's the way of things. Most people don't notice the old stones. Too busy in town to notice what's right in front of their eyes. Maybe I should go take a look at the mine. I'd get a better sense of what things were actually like. Haha, nothing will stop you, I see. Well, I won't either. Just keep an eye for any wolves or satyrs you might see down there, eh? I'll let you know if I see any. Thanks for your help. Good luck, Magdalene. Be safe. Hey, Magdalene. Hello, Apollo. What are you doing? Looking for frogs? Artemis says she saw one the other day and we're trying to collect a bunch. Frogs don't come out this time of year. How do you know? Artemis said she saw one. They don't. Hildegard says they're cold and wet creatures. They won't be out in autumn. Huh. Maybe that's why I only have one. What do you need the frogs for? Like I'll tell you, you'll snitch. I won't. Yeah, right. Sorry, Mags. I'm not telling. You'll just have to wait and see. Or ask Artemis. Maybe she'll tell you. Fine. I'll go talk to your sister. Good luck, I guess. Thanks, Magdalene. The Great Frog Plague of 1540-30. Oh, hey, Magdalene. Do you need something? I'm a little busy right now. Still catching frogs? Damn it, Apollo. You can't keep his fat mouth shut. What do you want, Magdalene? I want to see what our forefathers and the Romans left behind. It's for the mural. The mural? You want to use our secret hideout for your mural? I want to see if they left anything down there I could use as a reference. Really into that whole rat house project, aren't you? Why should I show you how to get in? So blackmail, emotional blackmail, or just asking. Well, try just asking. Just like you said you never asked to borrow my favorite scarf again. I need a guarantee, Magda. Look, I'll show you how to get into the mine on one condition. You help Apollo and me with our next prank. No telling, no snitching, no questions asked. Ha, no way, I'm not that stupid. And good luck getting down there, I won't help you otherwise. Find another way in. Sure you will. Good luck, Magdalene. Pig. A pig out here. Must have broke out of its pen. I wonder who it belongs to. we're not going down yet. We'll go back and check on Anna, and then we'll see if we can blackmail Artemis instead of agreeing to help with the prank. Ah, there you are. Had enough of hiding, Ulrika? Yes. Magda found me so quick. She's a good finder. No one can escape me, little one. I'll hide better next time. I'm hungry now. We'll have to get you something to eat then, little dove. Pretzel? Oh, is that what a proper child eats? Thank you for your time, Magdalene. Always glad to play with the children, but I really have to go now. I can't wait to see what you'll end up painting. You will do us proud, I'm sure of that. So we got the book. We can read it. We can write to Mathieu about the Christian history. Or we can go down into the mine. Oh, he didn't tell you? Christ, finally. He's learning to keep his mouth shut. Aw, come on, just tell me. No way. This is our biggest trick yet. We're not risking it to tell you. You'll just have to wait and see. Oh, so I can't agree to help? Dang. Well, that sucks. So we can either just go in by ourselves, which is definitely dangerous, or maybe we can ask Till if he'll come with us. I feel like going down by ourselves is definitely a recipe for getting hurt or something. But maybe it's good to read the book. Can we even read the book? It might be good to do that before going in, so we can like, have more context for what we're looking at. But I don't think we can just read it on demand either. Interesting. And we can't write right now either, so we definitely just need to go into the mine by ourselves, because we didn't agree to help. See, I would have thought she'd want to tie the rope around herself and like rappel down. This seems more dangerous. But I guess if it doesn't go all the way down. How convenient. There are a lot of different coins down here. How odd. It's not like this is a saint's well. Oh, a tablet. There's still writing on it. Oh, it's a poem. I think it's a love note. Beloved J, my great love, no other is vergleichbar, maybe like comparable with you. Even as King Solomon spoke of the most beautiful women, something he didn't something because he didn't foresee you maybe the love of your something swells in me like a Leidenschaft that I can never return from, or zurück would be returns, so I don't know Unterdrücken something. Yeah, my German is too poor to get all the words, but basically he's just saying that she's the best woman and that he loves her. So, a love note. Oh, that's cute. Oh, this looks like a larger version of some of Baltus's contraptions. Now that I'm down here, I should see what I can find from the Roman era and before. Oh, bones. They're far too big to be human. No horns. Looks like a mule to me. Maybe it hauled that winch. Poor creature dying down here. That is sad. Oh, a piece of pottery. It's beautiful. Hey, this piece looks like it matches the other piece I found. Oh, another shard. Oh, a cave-in. The wood here looks newer than the first part of the mine. Was this collapse recent? Very dangerous. More pottery. Oh, another beast. Oh, these must be the same kind of figurines Till and the other farmers find in the fields. To think that there are so many remnants of our ancestors scattered in fields and caves like this. Another piece. I wonder if they're all the same pot. That would be very, very unlikely from a realistic standpoint. Unless somebody broke it into pieces and like carried them all around deliberately. It would be more likely that you'd find them in like a similar spot, or you'd find some of them and the others would have just been like broken beyond like reconstruction. But, you know, for the sake of the video game, somebody's strewn these all around the cave for some reason. This pottery is scattered everywhere. There's a Latin inscription here. Tasia, give me water, or Pluto, preserve me. This salt is drying me to death. Yikes. Doesn't sound like working down here was pleasant. Oh, this looks like a Roman map of passing. I wonder what's changed. Let's see if I can map everything out. There's the aqueduct and the spring. The abbey was an old fort up on the hill. And there's the rest of the town. Wait, what's this building? I don't recognize it. Oh, this one. This is the spring then. Mithraeum. I don't recognize that word from any of my books. I can't quite tell what it's meant to label on the map. Maybe it's some sort of temple? Well, whatever it is, it's not in Tassing now. That's so odd. I also don't know the word Mithraeum. Another inscription. It's not very formal. A worker must have carved it. Laetus' soul ascended in the Mithraeum. My soul will descend in this damned hall of salt. Christ, that's rough. There's that word again, Mithraeum. It must have been important to the Romans. Yet another pottery piece. This almost looks like an altar, but what would an altar be doing in a salt mine? It's even carved out of the salt. Kind of sounds like the people working down here were like imprisoned. In which case, yeah, they might want to have an altar. Another shard. I have a lot of these pottery pieces. I should find out if they're all from the same pot. So we can reconstruct them. And this would be the spout. Let's see. Anything with this stripe will be in the same sort of area. Doesn't go there. And then this is clearly the edge of it, so it might be like either it's drawn oddly or it's more like a circular sort of object. Looks like a guy that's been stabbed down here. So we'll try and work on that part. Oops. Nope. That doesn't go there. Here's that part of the guy. He's got the knife. Got it. The figures on this pot lid look like they're telling a story. These paintings must depict an early myth, even before the Romans. So this would be... this is the same guy here. So he's like come toward this creature with a knife, and then he's been like killed, and these are like spirits around him. Let's see, this must be Perchta, and those must be forest spirits, part of the wild hunt. Oh god, the next part looks like a human sacrifice. Someone, maybe a chieftain, is sacrificing a man to Perchta. The bottom half of the lid continues the story. These look like spirits. They must be coming in to feast on the sacrifice. That must be how our ancestors tried to keep Tassing safe. They offered sacrifices to Perchta. This is part of our history, but I'm not sure this is the best story to portray. I'll have to think more about it before I decide for certain. Alright, I better keep going before I run out of oil in my lamp. More Latin writing. If we cannot enter the Mithraeum, we will make our own altar to the gods. It sounds like the Mithraeum was some kind of temple. Huh, I've never heard the word before. I won't be able to go any farther with all the rubble. I suppose this is as far as I can go. Still, the murals on the wall showed me what Tassing was like when the Romans were here. I wonder if I can find out where the Mithraeum was, or what it is. Putting the pottery shard back together showed one of the earliest stories of Tassing. I think I've seen everything I can down here, and my oil is running out. Time to climb back out. Uh-oh. Wait, who's that? Hello? Is someone there? Uh-oh. A man with a beard. A long Gandalf-type beard. Better get out of the shaft before another rock comes crashing down. Who was that? Even Apollo and Artemis would have helped me out of here. Well, now that I have more information, I can make some decisions on the first section of the mural. Should get back to the rod house and get to work. So have we read the book? Can we read the book? Can we sit down somewhere and read it? I'm not telling Father Thomas anything because I think he's a killer. The pig again. He's got a beard. You! Yes? I'm Hallerbrant, the Lord's gamekeeper. Why are you grazing pigs in the woods? I'm not. That's not my pig. I've been walking around this forest for hours. Other than the charcoal burner and the tinker, you're the only other person I've seen. The pig doesn't belong to you. What are you doing here? I was in the salt mine? Doing what? Wait, I don't care. Just tell me whose pig this is. I don't know. It could belong to anyone. Ah, a mysterious lost pig, who apparently belongs to no one. If I find any more pigs in these woods, I'll kill them on the spot. And those who brought them here. Do you understand? Remind your neighbors what happens when you break the Lord's laws. I knew the Lord's men patrolled these woods, but I've never seen one before. Didn't realize they were so strict. I suppose I should consider myself lucky. Anyway, time to get out of these woods and back to work at the rod house. Magdalene, still wandering around the forest. Get back to town quickly if I were you. Something happened? The Lord's warden has been stalking around the woods. He came by shortly after you did, asking about pigs and laws. He looked rather determined to start trouble. I was worried I might have sent you his way. But it seems you've come back all right. I ran into him on my way back from the line. He shot one of the town's pigs for grazing in the forest. Said it was a warning for breaking the Lord's law. Christ, was that what that crack was? I thought a tree had fallen. The Lord's men haven't come through Tassing too often. I wonder what brought this one. He did kind of look like the guy that was staring down at me from the mine. I expect he wants full range of his forest. God forbid anyone gather what he doesn't use. Heh. Abbots or lords, it doesn't matter. Even the townsfolk. Those in power will keep what's theirs away from folk who need it just because they can. Listen, Magdalene, that won't bother me, but you should get back home, alright? Don't come out into the forest for a while. Let the bastard move on to other towns. Alright, thanks, Smokey. See you, Mistress Magdalene. Scary. Is Martin missing a pig? If he is, He won't talk to me about it. Are you guys missing a pig? Are you missing a pig, Hans? Hello, Hans. Did you need something? How are you doing? Fine enough? Weather's getting colder. And the family? Healthy and hardworking. Simon's taking care of the winter provisions. He's a good boy. Proud of him. And you know how beautiful and kind-hearted Yuta is. Just like her mother. Don't know how I got so lucky. She's a miracle. She will marry a good man soon, I'm sure. Do you have someone in mind? That young Ertz is a good man, I've noticed. He's solid enough. Takes after his father. All the same, when Yuta has children one day, they'll be beautiful and kind like their mother. There are worse things to be, I guess. I did my best to raise her right, but her best qualities are all Heilvig. Give yourself a little credit, Hans. Kind of you to say, Magdalene. I should get back to it until later. Till then. Guess he's not missing a pig either. Maybe the Gertners are. Guess if they are missing one, they don't care too much. I really want to read my book, though, is the thing. Magdalene, dear. Hello, Clara. Thank you again for helping me look after the house. I can't tell you how much more time this gives me to work on the mural. Oh, it's no trouble. You have your hands full as it is. I know Dad really enjoys the company while I'm working, too. Ah, yes, he sleeps most of the day, but he's been in good spirits whenever I drop in on him. You two keep a clean house, too. Well, aside from the workshop, but I can't blame you for that. I've left that to you to take care of. I don't want to damage any of your supplies. Thank you, Clara, truly. You've been such a blessing to us both. Oh, you're such a dear, Magdalene. God bless you. I guess I should just work on the mural, and maybe I can read the book after. Werner, still not here. Hey Mags, how's the mural coming along? Magdalene. Can't you let it go? Mags is so much easier. No, Otto Zimmerman, I can't. Ugh, don't call me. Fine. Anyway, Magdalene, how's the mural going? Doesn't look like much yet. Well, of course it doesn't look like anything now. I only just finished priming the wall. Now I have to decide what to depict. It's hard to piece together the history of Tassing when it happened so long ago. Since the Abbey Library burned, I can only rely on stories from people around Tassing. Even what I could find about the Romans and pagans was obscure. I had to go into the old salt mine to find anything. At least now I know what to paint for the first part of the mural. So, what is it? I'm not sure which one to go with here. I think that we want the pre-Roman story. Even though I do like this one for the sort of continuous narrative surrounding Tassing, starting with the name Tassia. But I'm torn on this one because, like, I'm not sure that we, like, what we'd be depicting with this one, if it's just very, like, similar farming. The problem with this one is that it's, like, has questionable content, and people might not like that. So maybe we'll go with this one. Huh, really? Is that how we all got here? Kinda sounds like some story I heard about a saint. Don't think I've heard it, sorry. Ah. So what made you choose this story anyway? I like that it's about the founding of Tassing. Everyone knows the spring in the woods. I guess that's true. We all know that it's old, and it's always been here. This just tells a story about how we found it. Thanks for explaining it. Of course, I want you all to understand why I'm making these choices. Well, now that I've figured this portion of the mural out, I better start thinking about... Oh. My game has shut down randomly. My game crashed. So, give me a second and I'll restart. Fortunately, the game autosaves very frequently. So we'll just run through that conversation again. Good night, Ertz. Good night, Magdalene. Now that I've decided how to depict Tassing's earliest history, I should decide how to paint Kirsau's history. Mother Illuminata's letter mentioned that a Mathieu Faucigny-So used to be a brother in Kirsau. She said he knew a great deal about the Abbey's history. I should write to him and ask him what he remembers. Oh, and I have Esther's letter to answer too. I should write to them both now before bed. Oh, before I write, I should read that old book Brigitte gave me. Maybe I'll learn something pertinent for the murals. So we'll definitely do that. We can leave. So we'll do that as well. I don't see where I'm supposed to read, unless it's just included when I click on the right option. I hope so, because I don't want to miss out on doing that. It's interesting that we seem to be skipping out on the eating with people portion of the game as Magdalene, whereas there was a big focus on that with Andreas. We're not going to go everywhere, but we will quickly run through and stop by a few different places to see if anyone has anything new to say. Martha is still just standing here, staring longingly at the convent. Yeah, I think we'll just head back. And what I'll do is click on write, and if we don't start reading the book, I'll just immediately exit the game. Because I definitely want to get to that. Too bad Andreas isn't here, so they're not actually trying to find out who attacked my dad or anything, because who cares about that, right? Okay, 8 seconds ago. Right, where to begin? The old book. Okay, great. It was the Barons before Martin stole it. When the Romans, having conquered the town, built up the walls around it, they established many temples there. This is harder to read than I thought. The book isn't in great shape either, since it's been sitting in a farmer's house for so long. Let's see. Oh, here's a section about the various dedications erected in the town. That might be easier to read. Ergo simulacrum in aequo ut Mars nostrum operam conspiciat. I raise a vision in a field so that Mars may behold our work. This must be the thing that they were talking about in the mines, the Mytheum. Sitit Diana loco scaturiginosus ipsa. Diana sat in a place with water oozing up from herself. What does that mean? It means there's a temple dedicated to Diana, or Artemis, and it's like a fountain. And she's in the middle of the fountain. Oremus ut defendat oppidum. Let us pray so that he or she may defend the town. None of this really makes any sense. Maybe someone with better Latin than me could help me read it. The book is so big, though. It would be a lot of work. Could ask Sister Gertrude or Baltus for help. Werner, too. He's much better at Latin than anyone else in town. Maybe even Father Thomas, even though Dad warned me not to bother him with secular books. Chances are slim they could help, but it might be worth asking about. I should finish writing my letters first. Mother Illuminata told me that Mathieu knew some of the Abbey's early history. He's the Archdeacon of Sion now. I should write to him before the snows come. I'll write to Esther, too. Most revered Mathieu Faustiniso, Archdeacon of Sion. Wonder where Rudiger is, if he moved with him. My name is Magdalene Druckerin. I'm the daughter of Tassing's town printer, Klaus. My father and I are creating a mural for Tassing's Rathaus. We want to show the history of the town and the abbey. I heard that you were the sacristan at Kiersau and knew a great deal about the abbey's early history. I understand you are a busy man, but we would be most appreciative of any information you could give us. If you know of any other places where we might learn about the abbey's history, we would appreciate it. I know it may be small comfort, but there are many in Tassing who regret what happened during the revolt. Is an interesting thing to say. If he harbors ill will, that might help. But also, you know, we'll say it, just to be polite. Sister Gertrude is still here with the poor Clares, and she speaks fondly of the old abbey. Thank you for your help, Magdalene. Esther, please forgive me for not writing sooner. So much has happened since I last wrote. Even as my last letter was en route to you, Dad was attacked in the workshop in the middle of the night. He survived, thank God, but his injuries are terrible. I worry about him. He's so dizzy he can't get out of bed. Some days his eyes become foggy, and his memory fails him. Dr. Stoltz said he's not going to recover, that it's only a matter of time before he succumbs to the injury. I don't want to believe it, but it's hard to argue with Dad's condition. I have no idea who could have wanted to attack my father or why. I found a note by him too. All it said was, "Stop." It wasn't from the shop because the script was written in the most elaborate hand I've ever seen. No one in Tassing has such skill in script as far as I know. And anyway, I don't have the time to wonder about it. I've had my hands full running to the workshop alone while tending to Dad. What's more, the town council intended to cancel the mural entirely. I had a hell of a time convincing them to let me paint it instead. They made a fuss about my being too young, not experienced enough, not strong enough to be on the scaffold. You know how it is. I suppose I shouldn't have expected any better of them. Working on the mural has been a welcome distraction from the naysayers in my chores. And worrying about Dad. Ritz has been coming over under the pretense of helping me prepare my paints, too. I wish he'd stop. He's not subtle and his flirting is annoying. I'd like to have the whole mural finished by Christmas if I can. I just want to finish it in time for Dad to see it. It would mean so much to him. If Dr. Stoltz is right, I don't know how long I'll have. I hope you're faring better than we are here. All my love, Magda. So, we'll try and ask around for help translating the Latin. But I think everyone might be asleep right now, so we might have to wait until tomorrow for that. But we'll go around anyway. We'll try Werner first, although I suspect we won't be able to persuade him, in part because we were a dick to him earlier. That's locked, that's locked. Sister Gertrude, I think, had a possibility of helping. So we'll see if she's still awake. Oh, Werner is here, so maybe we can ask him. Magdalene, what do you want? Hello, Dr. Stoltz. I have a book here and I can't read it very well. I was wondering if you could help me translate it. No. But No, Magdalene, I can't be bothered by your lack of literacy. I just need a moment, please. God damn you, I said no. Leave. Yeah, he sucks. But it's interesting that it wasn't even a persuasion option. Everyone else is asleep, so we'll have to try tomorrow for that. Oh, I can talk to her. We'll check on our dad before we go to sleep. Oh, we're doing another time skip, I see. November 20th. Mr. Struckerin, a few more letters for you. Take care. Thank you, sir. Safe travels. The first letter is from Reverend Mathieu. Oh, Rudiger is there. That's nice. Mr. Struckerin, I was not acquainted with your family during my years at Kiersau. Even so, I remember your father was one of the townsfolk who prevented the peasantry from burning us alive. I am not overly inclined to assist the people of Passing in their endeavors to catalogue the origins of the abbey they destroyed. However, it was a long time ago. In the interests of posterity and Christian charity, I will tell you what I recall. Sometime after the Romans left, Christians settled in the region and built Kiersau Abbey on the ruins of a fortress. The abbey was founded by a noblewoman of the Kiersau family. She was both its patron and its first abbess. Perhaps 2 centuries ago, Kiersau changed to being run by an abbot. I do not know the reason, but many other double monasteries did likewise around the same time. It may have been done out of fear of being shut down, as double monasteries were frowned upon by the Pope. Sadly, that is the extent of my knowledge. Your neighbors put any other records about the abbey to the torch. Sic arsit historia Kiersis. Thus, something, the history of Kiersau. Thus burned the history of Kiersau. While we cannot change the past, I have heard that Sisters of the Poor Clares have formed a new chapter at the Abbey. I can only hope that their love of apostolic poverty has not driven them to impoverish the shrine of St. Moritz. Assuming they have not consigned the contents of Kiersau's former occupants to a bonfire, you may find something there. It is hard to be overjoyed at the news of your neighbor's late regrets. Many of the injuries inflicted 18 years ago will never heal. Regret cannot undo what has been done, but we can all find redemption through Christ. We must pray for love and reconciliation in the days ahead. In the end, that is all that matters. Winter comes swiftly. Huguenots and Lutherans plague my homeland. Thank the Lord you still live in a land ruled by the one true church. I hope this has been of some use to you and yours. May God keep and protect you. The Most Reverend Mathieu Faustigny So, Archdeacon of Sion. Another reply from Esther. Oh, Magdalene, I am terribly sorry to hear about your father. My parents send their deepest condolences. If we can provide you anything from Prague, you need only send word. I know we are further away than is easy to travel, but I will see that we can do what Hashem allows. Literally the name in Hebrew, a way to refer to God. Father says that he remembers no one who would want to harm your father. Yet, the night I was born, he remembers great strife in town. Perhaps there is old blood over depicting the night of the revolt. That is all he could suggest. We pray for you and your father every day in our offerings. Hashem will make all things right in time. He will exact justice on the culprit. I am encouraged to hear that the town council let you continue the mural at all. The guilds here would protect your right to complete a job, especially once a contract has been reached. You give the men of the council too much grace. Why should you be forced to settle for their old ways of thinking? We live in a new age, an age where art and science have come together, an age when all may read the works of the great sages in their own language. Truly, when your father recovers, I urge you to come visit me in Prague. But I am glad you found some joy in your work on the mural. We are all well here. Elisha has been carving a new set of wood cuttings, and father has agreed to a new contract with the university. I found Simon. His family didn't move far away after all. He's planning on working as a doctor in the city once the expulsion order ends. His parents have been meeting with mother and father quite often now, so I hope that I will be sending good news in my next letter. with Hashem's help. Please inform us of your father's condition in your next letter. Be well. Esther. That's all the letters I have for now. I should head home and check on Dad. Werner was supposed to come check on Dad today. I wonder where he is. Maybe I should try to find him later. Good morning, Magdalene. Good morning, Dad. Feeling any better? Your fever broke at dawn this morning. A little stronger, all things in time. Do you want anything to eat before I leave for the day? I'm working on the next section of the mural today. I'm not so hungry right now. I'll be alright. Your letter from the Archdeacon. Yes, that's right. What did you learn from him? He didn't have much to say. He was still upset about the Abbey's destruction. He did say that Abbey was founded by a noblewoman after the Romans left. Everything else burned in the fire. How unfortunate. I know the brothers kept careful records of the monastery. So much lost in one night. The Archdeacon did suggest the poor Clares might have held on to some of the records from the convent. I should be able to learn more about Tassing's Christian history there. An excellent place to start, Magdalene. Sister Gertrude doesn't come out of the convent much, but I think it's worth asking her. Maybe Father Thomas knows something too. I should talk to him. If I recall correctly, the miller's wife has a long family history in Tassing. She may know something of the local history that the others have forgotten. Elsa? I thought she moved here when she married. She doesn't have any relatives in town. Not anymore. Age, illness, and marriage took the rest of her family. But the Kavitzels used to live all up and down this valley. Go talk to her, I will. Thanks, Dad. Maybe something remained in the Abbey's ruins. I should definitely see what's left. Magdalene, you be careful. Those ruins are dangerous. They can't be that dangerous. The ruins have been sitting there for almost 20 years. I don't like that place. It'll crumble into nothing one of these days. I won't stop you, just be safe. And wear a scarf, too. It's getting cold out now. I can feel it in my bones. Don't worry, Dad. I'll see you tonight, alright? Alright, good luck. Alright. That's where we will call it for now. Thanks for joining. And next time we will paint the Christian history of Curacao.